أهلا وسهلا بالجميع. نبدأ إن شاء الله خلال دقيقتان. أهلا وسهلا جميعا، صباح الخير. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أسعد الله أوقاتكم أعزائنا المتابعين. بنرحب فيكم في اليوم الأول من مؤتمر الافتراضي حول التقنيات المتقدمة لإدارة المدن الذكية والمستدامة، بالشراكة مع مركز البيئة للمدن العربية ومجلس الأعمال للطاقة النظيفة، بالإضافة إلى شركة سولارابيك، وذلك على مدار 3 أيام في الفترة ما بين 18 و20 سبتمبر، يعني الشهر الحالي. سأقوم بإدارة اليوم الأول من المؤتمر. معكم محدثتكم ملاك الراعي، مهندسة طاقة متجددة من منصة سولارابيك، والتي بنعمل فيها على نشر المعرفة في مجالات الطاقة المتجددة والاستدامة بشكل عام. برحب فيكم جميعا مرة أخرى، وبنحب نبلش في بعض الأمور الإدارية. الرجاء الإعلامي عبر خاصية الشات إنكم تسمعوني منيح. هل تسمعوننا جيدا؟ تمام تمام، ممتاز جدا. بنشجعكم على إرسال أسئلتكم خلال المؤتمر بأقرب وقت ممكن خلال الجلسات نفسها. الرجاء عدم إرسال الأسئلة خلال خاصية الشات، وإنما عبر خاصية الكيو أند إيه اللي بتلقوها بجنب الشات، من أجل عدم فقدان أسئلتكم خلال المحادثات اللي بتصير. والرجاء كتابة السؤال في بلوك واحد، بحيث يعني عدم تجزيئه على عدة أجزاء أو رسائل متعددة حتى نتمكن من طرحه مرة واحدة. نرحب مرة أخرى بالحضور الكرام، وأيضا بنحب نرحب بمعالي عبد الرحمن العصفور، الأمين العام لمنظمة المدن الذكية. في هاي اللحظة راح يكون المؤتمر متضمنا جلسات ومتحدثين بكلا اللغتين العربية والإنجليزية، لذلك بنحب نرحب أيضا بحضورنا باللغة الإنجليزية والحاضرين أيضا. آم، Welcome everyone. Welcome to the first day of the virtual conference on the advanced technologies for smart and sustainable cities, in partnership with the Environmental Center of the Arab Cities and the Clean Energy Business Council, in addition to Solarabic. This conference will take place over a period of 3 days between September 18th and 20th of this year. I'll be moderating the first day of the conference. This is Malak Al-Ra'i, a renewable energy engineer from Solarabic. Solarabic is a platform where we spread knowledge in the field of renewable energy and sustainability. We welcome you all, and we start some administrative matters. Please let me know if in the chat if you can hear me well. Okay, perfect. I encourage you all to send your questions during the conference as soon as possible. Don't wait until the session ends. Please do not send your question via chat. Please use the Q&A feature in order to not lose your questions during the conversations. And please send your question in one block and do not divide it into multiple messages. We welcome you once again and our amazing attendees. I would also like to welcome His Excellency Abdulrahman Al Asfour, Secretary General of the Arab Towns Organization. At this moment, we will also be switching between Arabic and English. We welcome you all again. Please.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Malak, for the introduction. I'd like to complement that with a couple of words to welcome you again to this session. Excuse us that we run this session in both English and Arabic, since we have a variety of experts that joined us today. If you have questions that you wish to raise in either languages, also please send them and tell us to whom to address it, even to the Arab speakers. We will be very happy to submit that to them and to translate and to get that to you. My name is Munif Barakat. I'm the General Manager of Solarabic. Very happy for this partnership that we have today with the Environmental Center for Arab Towns and the Clean Energy Business Council to deliver the advanced technologies for managing modern cities, modern smart sustainable cities today. مرة تانية نرحب فيكم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أنا اسمي منيف بركات، مدير عام شركة سولارابيك. بسعدنا كتير وبشرفنا التعاون مع مركز البيئة للمدن العربية ومجلس صناعات الطاقة النظيفة لحتى نوصل المؤتمر اليوم عن التقنيات المتقدمة لإدارة المدن الذكية والمستدامة. أرحب بالجميع الحضور وأخص الترحيب بمعالي عبد الرحمن العصفور، الأمين العام لمنظمة المدن العربية. طبعا أهمية الكونفرنس بتجي رح تشوفوا من خلال المتحدثين عن موضوع المدن الذكية وكيف نحن نتعامل فيها مع تحدياتها، اللي دائما بيجذبني دائما ننظر نحن للصورة الكبيرة. الصورة الكبيرة شو بتقول؟ إنه إحنا 75% من استهلاك الطاقة بشكل أساسي في العالم هو في المدن. يعني المدن مسؤولة عن 75% من primary energy consumption اللي هن الاستهلاك العالمي. والمدن هي بتسبب انبعاثات تقريبا 50-60% من انبعاثات العالم بالنسبة للغازات الدفيئة. إذا نحن عم نتحدث عن أهم نقاط واجب علينا أن نشتغل عليها، وأي تحسين وأي زيادة في الكفاءة ولو في 1% فهي راح يكون لها أثر كبير، لأنه عم نحكي نحن عن أكبر ملوث للبيئة في العالم بنسبة 50-60%، وعم نحكي عن أكبر مستهلك للطاقة في العالم اللي هن المدن. لذلك ضروري نحن يكون في عنا دائما هذا التوجه والعمل على أن نحن نحسن من كفاءة ونجاعة الحلول الطاقوية، حلول النقل، حلول البناء، كافة حلول الاستدامة الموجودة بالبيئة والتي رح نتعرف عليها خلال 3 أيام بالتعاون مع مركز البيئة للمدن العربية ومجلس صناعات الطاقة النظيفة. بحب رحب فيكم جميعا مرة أخرى، وما رح أخر الموضوع، رجعها للمهندسة ملاك لتكمل إدارة هذه الجلسة إن شاء الله.
شكرا جزيلا. شكرا منيف. يعني نفس ما حكيت بتأتي أهمية هاي المؤتمر من إنه نأخذ التقنيات المتقدمة نخلي لها دور مهم في تخطيط المدن الحديثة وخصوصا المدن الذكية المستدامة وعلى مستوى تخطيط البنية التحتية والإدارة الفعالة. بالإضافة إلى أنه هاي التقنيات بتساهم في تحقيق التحكم الفعال ومواجهة تحديات بيئية بطريقة أو بأخرى وبطرق مبتكرة طبعاً. وبتساعدنا أيضاً على أنه نستجيب للتغيرات في البيئة التشريعية والتكنولوجية السريعة. من هنا تأتي أهمية هذا المؤتمر، واللي بينقسم إلى 3 أيام. في كل قسم ينقسم إلى موضوعين رئيسيين. على مدار ال3 أيام راح نكون معاكم من الساعة 11 صباحاً وحتى 3 مساءً بتوقيت الإمارات، أو من 10 وحتى 2 مساءً بتوقيت مكة المكرمة. نتحدث في أو خلينا to switch to English. The importance of this conference is coming for several reasons. we note the importance of the conference from the fact that the advanced technologies play an important role in planning the modern cities, especially the smart sustainable cities at the level of the infrastructure planning, effective management, in addition to contribute to achieving an effective control, comforting the environmental challenges in different innovative ways, and responding to different changes in the rapid logistics and technological environment. Given the importance of these technologies, we have this conference, which is divided into 3 days, and each day is divided into 2 main topics from 11 a.m. until 3 p.m. UAE time. So we will start with our esteemed speakers. نبدأ اليوم بمجموعة من العروض التقديمية في الجلسة الأولى بحدود 15 دقيقة لكل عرض. بعدين بندخل بنقاش مميز مع المتحدثين من هاي الأقسام، ويتوقع بأنه نكمل القسم الأول في تمام الساعة 1:45 بعد الظهر بتوقيت الإمارات. So starting with our esteemed speakers, our first session today will be about unlocking the potential of smart cities, strategies, and advanced application with Mr. Louis Frederick, the head of Law and Carbon Cities and Public Lighting business platform, Energy Solutions at ENGIE. Mr. Frederick, the mic is yours.
Thank you so much. Hello, everybody. Assalamu alaikum. I apologize because I don't speak Arabic. I will do my best next time, probably. I have to improve that. Just want to know if I have to share my slides or you have already mine.
No, feel free to share yours so we
Okay.
can control it better.
Thank you. So I will share my screen if you don't mind. Okay. Normally, everybody should be able to see my slide. If you can confirm, it would be nice. Is it okay?
Yes, it is clear.
Okay. Thank you for inviting me in these sessions. I'm very happy to be there. I have to say that ENGIE is a worldwide company, and we are very active in the Gulf regions. We have many opportunities working with all your organizations. So definitely, this is a fantastic area to play and to support the administrations, governments, and municipalities within the Gulf to go in this decarbonization roadmap. I would like to just introduce a few topics around these modern, sustainable cities and smart cities. First, before I jump in the slide, what is very interesting is to just introduce the fact that we are planning along a value chains. We can be divided in 3 main parts, I would say. The first one is upstream in the value chain, how we can develop, improve, and mobilize all the renewable energy available in a territory: solar, wind, geothermal, marine activities, whatever you want, but how we really can improve the supply of renewables in the energy grid. This is the key milestones in the decarbonization roadmap. The second is how you have and you benefit strong, robust, and resilient infrastructures in the middle of the value chain as a midstream milestone. And finally, how those infrastructures and all the services you offer the citizens, the administrations, the utilities are very, very efficient. This is really the things we have to keep in mind in our head. So we are a leading group that provide low carbon energy services. We are roughly 100,000 employees worldwide, and we really want to partner with our stakeholders, and we are committed to accelerate the energy transition to a more carbon neutral world. This is really our purpose at ENGIE. Cities and governments really wants to move to a zero carbon futures, and now the question mark is not if they want to move, is at what pace they want to move, because we really need now to accelerate the pace. But before you accelerate the pace, you need, in a nutshell, to understood where you start from. And we have developed a project called Ellipse, within a subsidiary of ENGIE called ENGIE Impact. This project, Ellipse, is how we can advise municipalities and governments to understand and measure their footprint and report, set the targets and design the roadmap, track progress, the investment, and monitor the decarbonizations. It's really important not to say, I will do that, and multiple the opportunities. I think this is strategic for municipalities to have this kind of strategic roadmap to understand how and what are the solutions that are the most efficient to be mobilized in the coming years to have this decarbonization roadmap. This is really, really key, I believe. These solutions called Ellipse, with this solution, which is a software, we will be able to capture all the carbon footprint, the existing infrastructures, the usage on municipalities, and with the target and goals set by the municipalities, we will be able to draft this decarbonization roadmap and find the most appropriate infrastructure that need to be mobilized to do so. Which is very important then is once you know where you want to go, is to think about smart infrastructures. In this conference, you were discussing about modern and smart infrastructures for sustainable mobility cities and municipalities. Clearly, the smart infrastructures are a key element on the puzzle. You really need to develop, renew, and mutualize the infrastructures you have on your territory. And we really believe that the sustainable cities, what we call at ENGIE low carbon cities, is an integrated offer focused on energy and decarbonizations. And we can show one key example. It could be public lighting, for instance, and smart lighting. We're actually developing this project in Abu Dhabi. This infrastructure is involving all the territories, is present in every street, in every road, in every highways. And this is a real good opportunity to use these infrastructures in middle of the municipalities and make that infrastructure smart, meaning that they would offer the services of enlightening the buildings, enlightening the roads, but also it will be a really opportunity to develop 5G, to develop mobility, to develop air quality sensors, and so on. So this is an example of one infrastructure that could be mutualized to offer multiple services, make the investment smart, clever, rather than to develop 2, 3, 4 additional infrastructure that will play in the same area. You see on the right part of the slide that a municipalities, if you want to go to a sustainable cities, you need to mobilize lots of solutions. The question mark is, what is the appropriate bundle of solutions you need to offer? It could be district cooling, it could be energy communities, it could be lighting, it could be energy efficiency in buildings, it could be traffic, smart mobility, sustainable mobility, whatever you need. But the most important thing is you need to know where you want to go and be ensured that the infrastructure that you will mobilize, renew, or develop will be able to handle various services to be offered. To do so, we believe it's important to advise and design, meaning that you need to classify, optimize, simulate the impact, simplify, really take advantage of the data on the ground. And we are very, very active in that area in the regions about data generations, make standard design and generations in order to industrialize and scale up and allocate. Then using digitalized solution to build, have an effective procurement process, mainly under the PPP framework. Definitely, this is the most advanced one, and this is the one that offers the most transparency for municipalities and capabilities. You need to, contract properly. You have also to combine what I've mentioned earlier in the discussions is the supply of energy, how to generate on-site generation, how to generate renewable energy on your territory, and embedded flexibility. Flexibility, energy storage, electric or thermal is definitely key in the future. The third point is how you engage with your stakeholder, because a municipality is a bundle of various layers of population, citizen, administration. So you need to engage your stakeholder. You need to build environmental plans. And then you have to operate and do the things. So you have to monitor the performance with the KPIs. You have to digital your solutions, and you need to be able to develop new services all the time. And to be able to do so, you need to have think before, one step before, you have to have thought about this smart and mutualized infrastructure. This is key. So the masterpiece to unlock smart city futures is really to have these infrastructures in middle of your municipality and think about your key objectives: attractiveness, mobility, safety, whatever you want. And you have to avoid thinking about what is public and private. You need to bundle both. Public can come with its regulatory power, with its vision, and this is fantastic. And it can associate with private company like ENGIE and build a very strategic partnership on a long-term basis. This is really, really important. Just to showcase that, I talk about the public lighting infrastructure because this is the one we're actually developing in Abu Dhabi under the Nujum project. In this municipality, we will renew 133,000 lighting poles in the Abu Dhabi municipality. We will develop very efficient solutions. We will save roughly 60 to 70% of energy. We will have new cables, new poles, and this is really an opportunity we offer. We will be able also to use these infrastructures to develop 5G small cell. This is actually under discussions. It could be really something very key. If you want to go to real 5G, what we call hardware standalone and hardware 5G, you need to deploy small cells everywhere. So this is clearly a good infrastructure to do so, because this is the good high, this is the good pace in terms of representativity on the territory. So this is the perfect one. And think also that we will have a centralized management system. So rather than having people patrolling everywhere, the system will be smart and will send default. And we will have just to send on the reactive manner if there is a default on the system. So this is far more efficient than the previous way we were operating the infrastructures, definitely. With this centralized management system, you will have also the opportunity to oversize many activities on the infrastructures. So this is a kind of ideas you can develop on one infrastructure. It could be mobility, it could be security, communications, it could be well-being with air quality sensor, temperature sensor, dust sensor, and of course, offering a very good and very efficient lighting offer. If you want to go a bit further, so remember, we thought that it was good to have a renewable for supply, having smart infrastructures in middle of that, then you can go and accelerate the pace to go zero carbon cities. You can go a step further and have the appropriate bundle to go in every direction that are needed to accomplish the vision. And this is definitely where I want to showcase a bit this public-private partnership approach to really boost the energy transition. Because what is key now for municipalities is to benefit expertise and finance and long-term perspective. And this is where the public-private mechanism is definitely a real good opportunity because of the capex intensity. If you want to invest in lighting, in energy efficiency, in solar panel on buildings, in district cooling, in, I don't know, mobility, EV chargers, or for public transportation, whatever are the solutions appropriate to your territory and your municipalities that are very specific, you will have to invest a lot of money, and you have to stay on a long-term basics and offer economic and financial performance for both parties, for the public, and I'm very clear on that, we need to share the value with the public authorities. You have to reduce your expenses, and you have to offer private companies a sustainable return on their investment. And if you are able to do such mechanisms of public-private mechanism, you will be very successful. To accelerate, you go into this public partnership. For some of the activities, you can go a step further with the concession model. You will reduce risk at municipality level, and you will increase the performance while keeping your jurisdictions to the private company. Meaning that rather than that have all the people within your organization thinking of what they should do, what they should invest, you will benefit a strategic partner close to you on the long-term perspective to design, build, operate, and have the guarantee of the performance in the contract. So this is really, we believe, the best way to accelerate while reducing the risk, while improving the sustainability and the smartness of your municipality. We operate at ENGIE in all this area, from public transportation, charging infrastructures, public lighting, cooling or heating network. We are the first cooling operator worldwide, especially with Tabrid, on-site generation and energy efficiency, and distributed solar. And you can see that we are present all along the value chain. We can accompany our customers all along the value chains because we are ready to sustain and take the commitment on the performance. Here's some case studies. Milpitas in United States. This is a 10-year smart city program for energy and water savings. And within that contract, we have installed 200 kilowatts solar PV, quite small, 5,000 smart meter for water and leak detections, 6,000 street lights, and we have invested money, and 1.5 million euros, the dollars, sorry, are saved for the municipality. So on the lifetime saving, this is 50 millions of energy savings and operation and maintenance savings. So this is quite huge for a municipality. Angelois Métropole in France. This is the second smart city contract in France, the biggest one. It's a 12 years contract where we will develop smart lighting, smart savings in buildings, smart water also system, and energy efficiency in all the public buildings. So this is really, really key. And they have also safety integrations. And on top of that, there will be a digital twin and a digital hypervision solutions that will benefit for the municipalities team to really oversee all the activities in the municipalities. Santa Barbara Unified School District. This is a 10-year contract with solar. We have embedded energy storage. We have embedded also a 28-year PPA, the power purchase agreement, with performance guaranteed.
Thank
So we
you.
see that we can take that commitment.
If we can finish in 1 minute.
Yes, I'm finished. One of plenty of examples just to showcase how you see we bundled various solutions depending on what are needed on the territories. Ohio State University, this is a 50-year contract with solar, with battery storage, with smart meter. Now we have embedded also lighting, geothermal energy, biomass. In Bologna, this is about making parking and mobility contract. So we are able to manage the price of the parking slots to adjust in real time how many people we want to come in the pure town center. In Niteroi, it's about safety and so on. So thank you for your attention. What I want to resume in a nutshell is that you need to think about how to mobilize at maximum your renewable potential, think about smart infrastructures in the middle, mutualize on them, develop new services, and finally find under the PPP model the most appropriate bundle of solutions you need to deploy on your territory to go to a sustainable city. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for such an interesting and a really important presentation. We look forward to discuss it more during the Q&A session, inshallah.
Thank you.
Now moving to Mr. Harshit Bandar, where we are going to talk about the empowering smart cities, the integration of renewable energy technology. Mr. Harshit Bandar is the Techno Commercial Manager and Business Development at Oriana Power Limited. Mr. Harshit, please. Mr. Harshit, can you hear us? We can wait a few seconds.
Engineer Malak?
Yes, welcome, Osama.
So we're gonna start basically in 9 minutes, right? Am I right?
We are streaming now. I just waiting for other speakers.
Okay. So just let me know when I'll pitch in now.
Okay.
Thank you.
I think there is a problem in the connection with Mr. Harshit. Mr. Harshit, can you hear us? Okay, so moving to next session while we are trying to fix the connection. Mr. Osama, can you start your presentation? Are you ready?
Yeah, sure.
So just
Please, allow sharing, please.
Yes, tamam. So thank you for joining us, Mr. Osama. Osama is from
IBEC.
Yes, IBEC, exactly. He's the CEO and he is going to talk to us about upscaling energy efficiency through building envelope. Feel free to mix between Arabic and English because our attendees are from both languages. Thank you. The mic is yours.
Okay, thank you so much, Engineer Malak, and thanks for having me on this occasion. We also thank all the sponsors and all the organizing entities who are actually working hard to bring this awareness session to all people. I'm Osama Abbas from IBEC Group. Basically, IBEC Group have two arms to it, IBEC Facades and IBEC Energy. And we work on facades from a design standpoint and supervision, as well as bringing energy efficiency to the world of energy savings in general. This is about upscaling energy efficiency through building envelopes. So the aim of the presentation is to open the eyes on what we can do to have more efficient facade designs, as well as the impact of the facade in general on the built environment and reducing CO2 emissions to make our planet, a healthier one. As I said, IBEC Group has two arms to it, IBEC Facades, the blue logo, and IBEC Green Energy. And we have three branches in Beirut since 2010, and in Dubai 2015, and we newly established in Riyadh and opening in 2024, inshallah. We are trusted by several high-level developers, contractors, and consultants in the field. And some of them are, Emaar, the UBMC, the King Salman Foundation, NGA, MAF, and also big names. I'd like to start the presentation by talking about the UAE sustainability targets for 2030-2050. As you know, there's a vision in the UAE in 2030 to consider the reduction in energy consumption in general. And this is, according to the plan, will be saving our planet from 182 million tons of CO2 emissions by then. Different Emirates have different targets, but overall, UAE is actually striving to achieve 40% increased consumption efficiency of individuals and corporates, 50% cleaner energy, and a 70% reduction in carbon footprint by 2050. Here we're going to talk about, what the built environment is about. We always talk about reducing energy consumption in buildings in general, and it's very important actually to understand what's the built environment. The built environment has, as a building, has like several systems that actually use energy, and it is one of the most energy consuming like sectors around the earth. According to the International Energy Agency, IEA, building envelope performance improvements are very critical and they are getting on track in order to achieve net zero milestones, especially when it comes to heating and cooling intensity. Buildings use most of their energy in terms of heating and cooling the HVAC system. Usually HVAC systems consume around 70%, like talking about GCC countries, 70 to 75% of the energy going into the building goes into cooling. And once you talk about Europe as well, you have most of it going into heating. As you can see here on my right, this nice sketch, heating of buildings and the cooling of buildings depend on how the building interacts with its environment. If it's when we're having a state of cooling, incident radiation coming from the sun will either be transmitted through the facade inside the building or absorbed by the facade or basically reflected away. And that, of course, affects how much heat loads is entering the space. Okay, here we're going to talk more about, the building envelope. Here is kind of envisaged as a kind of a, glass skin or like a pot in which people live in, and it basically, separates the outside from inside. That's the function of the facade, the building envelope, to provide thermal comfort, to provide a good environment for people to live in, to feel warm when needed, to feel cool where needed, and not to be affected by the external weather elements surrounding the building. It has a function of to shield the tenants from the sun, to allow enough daylight, to prevent wind and all sort of particles and dust particles and pollutants from coming into the building, and also to work on the rain aspect of things so as not to have any water infiltration. And some more of the aspects there relate to acoustics as well, and the safety of the tenant as well. Okay. Also, according to the International Energy Agency, as I said, there's a big shift towards actually removing the old stock type of facades and using new types of facades. As an example, you can see that throughout the years there is a trend. There is a trend to actually use more energy efficient kind of materials in the facade. And the building envelope, according to the IEA, is expected to save almost 6 exajoules in 2050 under the 2 degrees Celsius scenario. And if we are able to, reduce 2 degrees, of our cooling loads, we are able to reduce 6 exajoules in 2050. And this number is basically equivalent to the current energy consumption of the UK in total. You can see here from the scenarios that the inefficient facades formed of single pane windows, no insulation, and high air leakage are quickly being replaced by elements that are very much highly efficient. For example, low EW glazed windows, high levels of insulation, and low air leakage, coming into very high advanced buildings with zero energy buildings in which we are having facades. We call them passive facades that are able to help a lot in achieving the net zero requirement. Here you can see in this graph how is these graphs are growing. The amount of energy exajoules being saved throughout the year is planned to be much higher than. Example, 2050 has much higher requirement than 2020 in terms of energy savings through the facade. This is also an interesting slide. Here we talk about the retrofit, because while we can always talk about new buildings and how we design new buildings to be energy efficient, the fact of the matter is a new design building 20 years down the line is also an old building, let alone the old buildings that we have now. And there must be, a way to understand how much energy savings can we make by actually retrofitting facades in existing buildings. This is a simple scenario when we're taking like a baseline scenario of inefficient facades, where we are consuming around 650 kilowatt hour per year of energy. And then we do 3 levels of retrofit. Retrofit level 1, it's the basic retrofit, where it is not invasive. And then we go into like a medium type of retrofit, then into a deeper retrofit. As you can see here, ladies and gentlemen, that the values differ a lot. The building used to consume 653 and 985 HVAC electric consumption. From 650K, we go down to 570K, going down to 510K, ending up with 450K. So that's around 31% decrease in the amount of cooling load from our HVAC system. This means two things. This means that if we do these deep retrofits, at the end of the day, we are able to reduce energy bills. And also, if it's an old machine, we can replace it by a newer machine with a smaller volume, which will reduce CapEx and OpEx. And by CapEx, I mean the amount of money investors have to invest in HVAC equipment, and OpEx, which is the running cost. Yeah. Next slide, we're going to talk about what we as IBEC Energy are doing in order to help, to support. Okay, we are using our expertise as facade engineers and create a system in which we are able to read, the pulse of the facade. So this is the pulse. It's like when people go to doctors and they take their pulse and heart rates and blood pressure. It's the same thing here with facades. What we basically do is that we have something called FESPA that we've created, and FESPA is short for Facade Energy Saving Potential Assessment. Okay, now FESPA is just a very detailed way of scanning the building and understanding whether the facade is a source of energy leak or not. And accordingly, we are able to determine how much is of the energy is lost, in which manner, radiation, convection, conduction, else, and then we can propose alternatives, and these alternatives can easily be linked to simple payback schemes, so that CFOs can know how much will they have to invest and how much will that amount be returned by the building in terms of savings. This seminar, it goes under a big title, which is Smart Cities. And that's why we here at IBEC decided to talk about smart facades as well, not only about energy savings, but the smart facade, which also entails some savings. What are smart facades? Here you see on the right, Al Bahar Towers in Abu Dhabi, UAE, designed by ADIS and constructed by Al Futtaim Carillion. It's one of the few buildings in UAE, which basically is very responsive to the climate around it. So it's a smart facade is technology-loaded advanced facade. In a matter of sense that the facade will enable the building to be more energy efficient, reduce carbon footprint, add real estate value. And also it will provide its users with the highest levels of thermal comfort, daylighting, and glare control. Now, why? Why are smart facades able to do that? Well, when we design facades, we have the option to create dynamic and responsive facades, in which these facades, they change their size, their form, their opacity, okay, so that they basically would provide more comfort to the end user. For example, if the sunshade here on the right, with its sensors, feel that the sun is now, hitting the glass at a quite high radiation value. So the smart thing to do is to close up. So this thing closes up and opens up based on sensors, on control units, so that if we have high levels of solar intensity, we basically close up, or the facade closes up, reduces the amount of heat coming into the building, and therefore also bringing thermal comfort, because people will not feel hot. If they have glare problems, they will not be having it. On the other hand, if there is no sun and there is a daylighting requirement to be met, the sunshade itself will open up dynamically to allow daylight to come in. And by doing so, basically, we are reducing the amount of cooling loads needed within the building, hence reducing carbon footprint and reducing the energy bills. This is also another example of dynamic facades where we have these kind of shades on the face of the building. They basically move up and down based on the requirement of the building tenants connected to a central control unit. They are active and they develop automated response to environmental changes, and they can change the shape and the color and texture. Okay. There are 4 different types of dynamic facades: mechanical, thermal, solar, electrical, with the mechanical being, one of the most cost-effective, as the one you see in Al-Bahr project. And the thermal and the solar, they relate, to gas infills inside the cavities of glass, where they react to the sun with electric impulses to change the opacity of the glass, which is a bit of the higher end of the spectrum in terms of the cost efficiency. Malak, I'm not sure if I exceeded my time or not, but
No, you are on time. Thank you so much.
I'm on time. Yeah, I think 14 minutes. Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
If there are any questions, Malak, I can answer from anyone.
Yes. We will be asking many several questions for such an amazing and really important topic in the Q&A session. So thank you so much for such an important topic, mentioning the importance of the energy efficiency and mentioning such innovative solutions and enhancing the building efficiency and its important being part for sure for in the smart cities. Inshallah, we will meet again in the Q&A session.
Okay. Thank you so much. Yeah.
With all the pleasure. And now I would like to warmly welcoming the Secretary General of the Arab Towns, Engineer Abdulrahman Al-Asfour. Switching to Arabic, welcome. Thank you. شكرا جزيلا مهندس عباس على أو عفوا مهندس أسامة على البرزنتيشن الرائعة. بود الترحيب بحرارة بمعالي بود الترحيب بحرارة بمعالي الأمين العام للمدن الذكية المهندس عبد الرحمن العصفور، واللي راح يعطينا كلمة أو كينوت سبيتش. تفضل معاليك. معاليك أنت على الميوت، لو بتحب تفتح أتوقع في ممكن يكون.
السلام عليكم.
أهلا وعليكم السلام.
حضرتك خلود مديرة مكتب الأمين العام المهندس عبد الرحمن العصفور. هو فبس 10 دقايق بعدين.
خلص تمام إن شاء الله. إذا نبلش في الجلسة اللي بعدها، بعدين خلال إن شاء الله ربع ساعة بنرجع لجلسته. شكرا جزيلا. So switching back, sorry for the interruption. So moving now to our next presentation with Mr. Mohammed Shibaro, talking about the smart cities accelerating the energy transition. Mr. Mohammed Shibaro, he's project manager of Dar Al Handasa. He's yes, we can.
Okay, good day everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you so much.
Okay, I'm sharing my screen now. Is it visible?
Yeah.
Okay, good day everyone, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to be presenting how smart cities are accelerating the energy transition. Okay, so I'm Mohammed Shibaro from Dar Al Handasa, from the electrical department. As you all know, Dar Al Handasa is a multidisciplinary engineering consulting firm, providing engineering, architecture, planning, environmental and project management, as well as economic services. It is the founder of Dar Group with more than 20,000 permanent staff. Dar Al Handasa has 5 main design offices in Beirut, in Cairo, in London, Pune, and in Amman in Jordan. We are serving more than 1,000 clients in more than 60 countries. And by now we have delivered more than 4,000 consultancy projects. So to start with, what is a smart city? And here I'm providing a definition from the International Telecommunication Unit. Smart sustainable cities are innovative cities that use information and communication technologies and other means to improve quality of life, efficiency of urban operation and services, and competitiveness while ensuring that it meets the needs of a present and future generation with respect to economic, social, and environmental, as well as cultural aspects. So it's a city that utilizes the ICT infrastructure to promote well-being. Now, identifying technology layers within the smart city, we can first identify the enabling infrastructure, which is composed of data centers, command and control centers, fiber optic networks, technologies related to cybersecurity, big data, machine learning, AR, and VR. Then we have the disruptive technology solutions in terms of systems that can be implemented on top of the infrastructure. Here we can list electric vehicle charging, smart emitters, smart cooling, drones, storage solutions such as supercapacitors, traffic management systems, smart waste management, smart benches, smart lighting, etc. And then we have the formative technology innovations, which are technologies under development that we need to consider readiness, or let's say some design factors within our current solutions in order for them to be implemented in the future, such as internet balloons, robots, hyperloop technology for transportation, and wireless energy transmission. So after we have presented what is a smart city, now we will present what is energy transition. Energy transition is the shift from fossil fuel-based technologies to renewable and green gas systems in response to climate change. As you all know, climate change is resulting from the increase of greenhouse gases, and it is shown in the in form of heat waves, forest fires, increased intensity of tropical storms, and also the melting of the solar pole. So, and it has also projected economic cost, which is extremely high. Therefore, in response to climate change, energy transition procedures shall be taken into consideration. It all started in the 1970s with the United Nations Framework Convention, which was the first, I'd say, unofficial agreement to initiate action for climate change. Then we have the Kyoto Protocol in 1997, which was the first agreement which was mainly concerned with the developing economies related to action regarding the climate change. Then we had in 2015 the Paris Agreement, where all the countries agreed to limit the temperature rise to 2 degrees Celsius in comparison to the industrial era. Finally, the Glasgow Climate Pact in 2021, which also set a limit by the mid-century, which means by 2050, to limit the temperature rise to 1.5 degrees Celsius, and also to provide net zero targets for several countries. Okay, so after presenting what is energy transition, now we'll focus on technologies within smart cities that shall accelerate the energy transition. And here we can identify 4 main pathways. The first one is regarding clean power generation in form of solar photovoltaic, concentrated solar power plants, nuclear technologies, mainly SMR, hydrogen turbines and fuel cells, as well as the adoption of bioenergy and waste to energy with carbon capture technologies. Other pathway is through electrical storage on the grid in the form of batteries, flywheels, thermal storage, hydrogen storage, as well as supercapacitors. A third pathway is through activation of energy management systems that shall enable smart grids in form which includes systems such as advanced metering infrastructure, advanced distribution and management system, microgrid applications, smart infrastructure related to, let's say, smart road lighting and smart EV charging. The fourth pathway, which is the most recent one, is through adoption of and enabling the adoption of hydrogen-based technologies, such as hydrogen fueling infrastructure, hydrogen midstream, upstream, midstream, and downstream. So how these technologies and the adoption of smart cities shall accelerate the energy transition? It can be done through 3 main phases. First, which is the initiation phase, where we install the related infrastructure. So first we plan, then we install the infrastructure, and we start collecting data, ensuring interoperability between the systems, initiating collaboration between cities and between municipalities to share experiences, and set KPIs with clear goals how to meet the sustainability development goals and the national vision. The second step is through activation of these systems, where we, from metering, we can now conclude the CO2 emissions and energy, let's say, energy classifications. So what we can classify what type of energy is consumed within the city, related to which system, to cooling, to let's say e-mobility, electrification of F&B. So we can classify the energy consumption. Then we can apply demand response applications using blockchain, also blockchain infrastructure, and ensuring interconnection between the microgrid and the national grid. The third pathway is through operations, where we can provide some innovation in the operation of these microgrids. It can be done by applying the concept, let's say, of virtual power plants that will and virtual power lines that we'll be discussing in the next slide, and on applications such as peer-to-peer energy trading. So the smart city pathway can be summarized as first, measured networks and interconnected systems, all managed and integrated to provide smart applications, where smart will be as a service, ensuring the well-being of citizens. Here we'll take an example of a smart grid. Smart grid is mainly composed of the following systems: advanced metering infrastructure, distributed energy resources, energy storage, microgrids, digital substations, energy management systems, EV charging, and smart road lighting, with bidirectional flow of power and information between supply and demand. All of this to ensure sustainable clean energy, sustainable economy, and sustainable secure living. So the smart grid has a circular architecture, interconnection between generation resources from the national grid down to microgrids, with a citizen-centric approach, making the citizen at the center of the equation. So he is now a consumer and a producer at the same time. He consumes energy from the grid, and he produces energy, let's say, from his rooftop photovoltaic or from vehicle to grid application, or he can sell back energy to grid through storage. So the smart grid has several functionalities, such as fault current limiting, power flow control, adaptive production, automated voltage control, and a real-time load measurement, etc. So it has this automated self-healing applications and instrumentation and control solutions and applications. One of the characteristics of the smart grid that it is unbundled. So in order to activate the smart grid application, we need to ensure that the value chain within the smart grid is unbundled. So generators are separate from T&D providers, which are separate also from DSOs, separate from traders, and separate from retailers. And at the end, we have the prosumers, which used to be consumers. Now, after producing electricity from their facilities and selling back to the grid, they become prosumers. This unbundling shall ensure competitiveness within the services provided at the grid level. Now, let's take some insights and innovative application that can be done within smart cities, mainly within the energy systems related to smart cities. One of these applications is the Negawatt. So what is the Negawatt? It's a theoretical unit that reflects the amount of power or energy saved or conserved as the result of technology upgrading, structural changes, or mitigation initiatives. In other words, Negawatt is a unit concerned with energy efficiency. So whenever I reduce my energy consumption, this is the Negawatt. And the studies shows that investing in the Negawatt is 40% less than investing in the megawatt. So for us to increase the capacity, will cost us a certain capex. It will be more cheaper to invest in reducing this installed capacity.
If we can finish in 1 minute, please.
Yeah, sure. So in order to apply this innovative, to get this innovative application of a Negawatt, we need to implement certain infrastructure, from metering infrastructure to ICT to blockchain layer, also to enable the trading, so people can reduce their consumption and get this unit in form of a token and resell it back on the grid. Mainly, that's it, mainly. And just 1 second.
Thank you.
That's it.
Okay. Thank you.
Just to wrap it up in 1 sentence. Smart cities shall accelerate the energy transition by endorsing energy efficiency and renewable energy generation, and by limiting the impact of electrification on existing infrastructures. That's it. Thank you.
شكرا لك يعطيك العافية. Presentation is really important. Thank you for explaining the smart cities and explaining in details. It's important. Thank you so much. Switching to Arabic. شكرا مهندس محمد على مشاركتك القيمة، وإن شاء الله we will get back during the Q&A session. Now we would like to welcoming again the Secretary General of the Arab Towns, Engineer Abdulrahman Al-Asfour. Switching to Arabic, بنحب نرحب بحرارة بمعالي عبد الرحمن العصفور، الأمين العام لمنظمة المدن العربية، واللي راح يحكي لنا هسه keynote speech. تفضل معالي.
السلام عليكم الأخوة الحضور. يطيب لمنظمة المدن العربية أن تتقدم لشركاء التنظيم، مركز البيئة للمدن العربية، وكل من شركة سولار أربتك ومجلس صناعات الطاقة النظيفة بالشكر والتقدير على تنظيم هذا المؤتمر العلمي، والذي يركز على دور التكنولوجيا الحديثة في خدمة البيئة ودعم الاستدامة وتحقيق السعادة للمجتمعات من خلال تحقيق دور التكنولوجيا الحديثة في خدمة البيئة ودعم الاستدامة وتحقيق السعادة للمجتمعات من خلال تحقيق السرعة والجودة والمصداقية في إدارة خدمات البنية التحتية في المدينة في عالم اليوم. إنه ومع اعتماد أجندة التنمية المستدامة بواقع 17 هدفاً تنموياً، فقد لوحظ ارتباط ما يقرب من 30% من الغايات بالتكنولوجيا بالشكل المباشر والغير مباشر، إذ تعد التكنولوجيا الحديثة الأداة الفاعلة لتسريع عجلة التنمية وتحقيق مستويات أعلى من الإنتاجية والإبداع والابتكار في كافة أبعاد التنمية الاجتماعية والبيئية والاقتصادية. وفي المدينة الحديثة كانت التكنولوجيات المتقدمة والذكاء الاصطناعي الفرصة الكبرى لتحقيق الاستفادة المثلى في إدارة ورقابة الموارد الطبيعية في مجال المياه والكهرباء وإدارة الطاقة النظيفة والزراعة وتدوير النفايات وإدارة التغيير المناخي وتقليل الانبعاثات الكربونية وحسن إدارة المواصلات والنقل والقضاء على الفقر والتعليم والصحة والتصنيع وغيرها. وقد حرصت أجندة التنمية على تحقيق العدالة من خلال حسن توظيف التكنولوجيا الخضراء التمكينية ونقلها وتوظيفها بشكل مثالي لحصول المجتمعات على الخدمات الرئيسية التي يحتاجها جميع أفراد المجتمع، وتوصيلها إلى الأحياء والمساكن بشكل ميسور ومأمون وبتكلفة بسيطة، كما حرصت على تعزيز دور الحكومات والمدن على دمج التعليم لتكون الجامعات ومؤسسات البحث العلمي هي المبادرة على الوقوف على التحديات ودعوة البحث العلمي والابتكار الجامعي لاستشراف المستقبل الأفضل للمجتمعات، وتعزيز دور التقنيات في تحقيق التنمية وتحفيز الإنتاج والتقليل من الاستهلاك الغير ضروري وتنمية التعاون والشراكات على كافة المستويات للتبادل العلمي والتقني وتبادل التجارب النافعة والمتقدمة التي تخدم استدامة المدن. وإيمانا من منظمة المدن العربية، فقد حرصنا بشكل استراتيجي على دعم كافة مؤسسات المنظمة وتحفيزها على العمل على استجلاب التقنيات المتقدمة وتسهيل وصولها للمدينة العربية، وتنظيم المؤتمرات الهادفة لتقاسم المعرفة والتشارك مع العالم لاستعراض كل التجارب التقنية الحديثة والملائمة والآمنة تمهيداً لنقلها وتطبيقها داخل المدن، وبما يحقق خدمة وسعادة مجتمعاتنا البشرية. أتمنى لكم قضاء الأيام الثلاث القادمة في رحلة ممتعة ومشوقة من المعرفة العلمية والإحاطة بالتجارب العالمية التي تم تطبيقها بنجاح. شكرا لكم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
شكرا جزيلا معاليك، تشرفنا بحضورك وشكرا على كلمتك، وإن شاء الله نكون عند حسن الظن ونكون جزء من هذا التغير.
بإذن الله.
شكرا جزيلا.
جزاكم الله خير.
جزاك الله خير.
تقدرون تكملون برنامجكم أستاذة.
شكرا جزيلا، شكرا جزيلا. ننتقل الآن. Thank you so much, Your Excellency, for your word, and hopefully, inshallah, we will be part of this transition. Thank you so much. Moving now to our last topic during this session, part one from day one, the solar facades and the clean energy for smart cities with Mr. Colin. Mr. Colin is the business development for Middle East and India for energy development. Please, Mr. Colin, can you hear us?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Can I share my screen?
Sure thing.
Okay. So I'll keep it really short. My name is Colin Fernandez. I handle the business development for Eigen Energy. We are based out of Netherlands, and we started operations in the UAE and India 2021. So initially we started off with try to do the solar facades in the region. But of course, as we all know, there are a lot of regulations and other factors that will not give us the opportunity to directly install or look at things at the moment. So what we did is we started off with our regular solar systems where we finance, build, and operate for the customers, mainly C&I. But that does not stop us from really exploring options to develop the solar facades market, because that definitely is going to be the next big thing. So the advantage for solar facades, what we see mainly is in high-rise buildings, they have very less roof space to accommodate solar panels on the building. So what we came up with is a nice replication for the buildings. So now the architects come up with beautiful colors, beautiful designs, and then they don't want that to be changed over by black solar modules. So we have come up with some designs. If you see on the right, this is one project that we have already done in the Netherlands. So a solar facade does not need to be black or blue, but it can be of any color, any shape, any design. However, the customer or the client, they like it, or mainly it pleases the architectural view of the society or the city. So the benefit of solar facade is we can generate electricity from the sun, we can reduce 40% HVAC cooling load, and then we can reduce 20% of lighting load, achieve daylight lighting, reduce peak demand. So I'll tell you a little more about how do we reduce the peak demand. Usually in office buildings, the peak demand rises at 9 o'clock, let's say, and again at 3 o'clock. So that's when the sun rises and the heat comes down to the building, and the building gets really warm. So to cool that off, we need a really high amount of HVAC load, which is cut by if there is a solar module that will generate electricity, but at the same time block the heat from entering into the building, which will reduce peak energy demand. So, and also that will help in reduction of grid congestion. And finally, of course, there is a reduction in operational cost, and then there is aesthetically integrated. So like I just previously said, there is no problems with the aesthetic design. So the types of solar facades are basically opaque, which is you cannot see anything from the inside, but there is, of course, the some models where we can design solar modules that's completely oriented towards the sun, and then glass that's oriented towards the street. So you have uninterrupted view, but at the same time you get daylight, you block the heat, block the sunlight. And of course, it can be integrated on any facade construction material. So that does not really need to be a special fixation system or something like that. With the regular fixation system, this can be integrated into it. This slide is really important. When we talk about a solar facade, it consists of a lot of information that we gather: the local climate, the trajectory, the surrounding, the adjacent buildings, the orientation of the building, the geometry of the building, and considering the colors of the architecture is also important. Lighter the color, higher the efficiency. So I'm sure a lot of people understands how the solar system works, but in a facade, it's a little more complex, which we do we have like dedicated softwares to analyze these factors and put in place a really nice design, which will give us the best yield. And of course, when I'll talk about the finance next. So finance is key in this part. When we talk about BIPV, which is Building Integrated Photovoltaics, anyhow, if you're looking at a new building or you're going to replace an existing facade, we're going to have a cost that's going to incur a cost, which over time, it will repay. I mean, it would be nice if it repays us. So when we put in the BIPV systems, it is say about 40–50% higher cost than the regular facade. But if we can add to them a nice financial scheme where they don't pay that extra cost, but rather recover that cost over a period of 5 years or 10 years and then repay it, it will work. It would be really beneficial for the client. So that's what we are built and we are trying to do. And in finance really plays a key role when it comes to when we are planning a building. Let's say we take HVAC HVAC capital investment, lighting capital investment. So all of this, when we say we're going to wrap the building with a BIPV solution, there is going to be a significant difference in the capex, and of course, it will increase the capex by a marginal amount, but which can be recovered over a period of time. So that's these are the key factors of what we can really look at the solar facade. So I mean, it does not, like I said, if you see this, it's really a small piece of solar module, which is blue in color, but it's this can be integrated directly on the glass, or it can be on ACP or any system that is available or it is being built. So like we planned, I mean, we can look at solar, we can look at wind, but solar facade is the next thing to have clean energy. When almost 10-20 buildings in a small area is surrounded with solar facades, of course we can bring down the climatic temperatures by maybe about half a degree, or I mean 0.75, something like that, which eventually I mean it helps in global warming. It becomes more sustainable. So I think that's the next way to go about it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Colin, for your presentation. Everything was really, thank you for mentioning such an important topic. Inshallah, we will discuss more now during the Q&A session. I would like to kindly ask all of our speakers who were participating in the first session or presenting to open their cameras and to be ready for the Q&A session. Okay, so starting with, I'm sorry, I just can't see my screen. Okay, thank you so much. So starting with Mr. Frederick, as we started with you, I would like to firstly ask you about, as you mentioned earlier, is there any municipality ready to encrypt advisory to operation in one partner project?
Thank you for your questions. I think it will be key now to accelerate the pace toward smart and modern sustainable cities. So in our opinion, in respect of the position of each other, I think if you all the time send a tender for asking advisory, and then you ask a company to perform the works and make detail engineering, and then you go to operations, I think we are losing a bit of time. So we really promote the ideas that we can develop a kind of partnership ecosystem around the municipalities. I think we have very respectful companies of advisory companies around the table today, and I think it will be really a force for municipalities to ask us rather to offer one offer from advisory to operations, rather than to say, okay, I will ask advisory, and then I will go to a tender, and then I will ask operations, and I will go to a tender, and so on. So I really believe it will be a key lever for municipalities to bundle such expectations from advisory to the end.
Thank you. Having mentioned that, there is also another question that crossed is about also, is there any keen to create a strategic or public-private partnerships as an SPV to decarbonize, and to develop the smart sustainable cities rather than issue several tenders only?
Yes, thank you for the second question. So you point out something very interesting, is that the problem is not the fact that we see tendering and so on. The fact is that we are losing time. So I was wondering if some of the municipalities are keen today to create such strategic partnership with consortiums of company around them and say, okay, rather than issue one topic, and you have a very interesting example that have been given by the people around the table about facade, about energy efficiency. How could we shift to something a bit more global and say, rather than think about each solution at that time, create one object, one public-private company where the municipalities come and ask strategic partner to join financing, but also for expertise and operations, and say, okay, we have now one vehicle available to help the municipalities to decarbonize whatever are the solutions. That doesn't mean that there won't be auctions and tendering process, but this is, you select your partner, and then the municipalities have a very clear and transparent access to this company, and they ask us to showcase the solutions that, in their opinion, will be the most powerful to achieve such ambitions, and then you deploy and you deploy and you deploy. And I think we think that it could be a key advantage to do so. The new cities that are now popping everywhere in the region, especially in the Saudi, are doing such, like Neom or Red Sea. But for Dubai, for Abu Dhabi, for all the Emirates, I think there will be a real opportunity to really accompany the pace of development, which is really incredible in the regions, and don't avoid to the sustainable goal.
Thank you so much. Like really, really important topic, and no comment even for the questions. Thank you so much. Moving now to Mr. Osama. Since we have Arabic speakers, so I would prefer to ask you the question in Arabic also. You can answer it in both languages. We received a question about كيف طلعتوا بكونسبت الفسبة والشيء بالشيء يذكر كيف بيتم يعني الفسبة بشكل عام.
Okay, the FESPA is the Facade Energy Saving Potential Assessment. It's a way so that we can go examine the facade, نشوف الواجهة ونفحص الواجهة نشوف إذا ممكن نوفر فيها طاقة. We examine the facade basically, and we assess whether there are some energy leaks there in the facade, which eventually are leading into increase in energy bills, increase in CO2 emissions, increase in the cooling loads. Now that's why we do FESPA. So FESPA is, like I said in the presentation, it's like the pulse of the facade. So we go check the pulse in terms of energy efficiency. How we do that? We focus on the main drivers or the main concepts by which facades lose energy, which are basically radiation, convection, and conduction. So we check if the facade, is losing a lot of air. When we are trying to cool the air, we pay a lot of money on the HVAC system. Fossil fuel bills, trying to cool the air inside the building, but because the facade leaks air, so what happens is that all this air, by the phenomena of energy balance between outside and inside, escape through the facade through the leaks from loose gaskets, from improperly installed systems, from doors, from windows that are not properly designed to contain the air inside. And this will lead basically to the air inside the rooms getting more humidity, getting higher temperatures, which will require from the HVAC system to again cool these spaces, extract the humidity, etc., to create thermal comfort. So the HVAC system is like the heart of the building, and it's continuously striving basically to achieve a certain thermal comfort inside the room, while with the facades leaking air, we are actually working against it. So that's the first point we check. And the second point, we check conduction. So there's something called the U value, which is the heat exchange rate between the outside and the inside. even if the facade is very much airtight, there is also another mode of losing energy, which is conduction. So basically, we have a cold air trapped in a room, and there is hot air outside. Again, with the energy balance principles, the cold air will basically cool the glass from inside. The hot air from outside will cool the glass, will heat the glass from outside, and we will lose our energy because of this transfer of energy in between them. It's like you having, your hand cold and placed on a hot surface, Malak. So once you do that, your hand basically exchanges heat. So your cool hand gets warmer and the glass gets colder. The third phenomenon is called transmission and or radiation, by which due to poorly designed facades, we have the sun infrared heat basically penetrating the skin, the facade directly, and cooling the air inside by means of transmission. So we have air, and then we have the sun. The sun hits the air and then makes it hot. And then if the glass is not being able to block a significant portion of the infrared heat, we have the air heated up. So it's basically reading all these parameters all together, okay, which makes up a FESPA. It's science, basically, in which we are using state-of-the-art measurements, thermography, U-value metering, power transmission meters, and experienced facade engineers and inspectors on site who basically are able to detect and get the pulse for the facade. Reporting back to the client, the developer, we tell him, that, listen, your facade is sick. You need to do this, this, this. We have clients who have high humidity with the tenants and the hotels complaining. We have gypsum board falling in rooms because of increased humidity. We have mold growth. We have damage to property from carpets to wallpaper, etc. So all this can be treated once you do a FESPA.
Thank you so much. A question bringing other question. We received another question about what is the reduction percentage from the baseline we can achieve from the passive measures when it comes to demand side management on a residential villa, for example?
I mean, it depends on really how much you go into the retrofit. We have light retrofits, Malak, and we have deep retrofits. In some projects, the client does not want any invasive retrofit. So they still want to keep the building running. They don't want any disturbance. So we kind of do compartments, and then we go and work on specific facades in particular. And we are able to achieve like between 10 to 15% reduction in energy bills or in reducing the cooling load on the HVAC system. Whereas, if the client, has more appetite to do a deep retrofit, we can hit up to 31%. We can, take the skin all out, but it all again boils down to simple payback and how much, the client is basically willing to invest in the facade. CFOs in general, chief financial officers, they tend to go, with 3 to 5 simple payback solutions. And we have that answer as well. Whereas, if the client is looking forward to, use the building on his own, working on the long run to reduce OPEX, to reduce CAPEX, they are willing to invest more and have like a more lengthy, simple payback, which will reduce energy saving in the future. So yes, I mean, the answer to your question, it can range between, let's say 10% to 31%, depending on how much the client is aggressive in tackling the matter.
Thank you so much. And I think this is إجابة كافية and وافية, as we say in Arabic. Moving, we have another question to Mr. Muhammad. Mr. Muhammad, we received a question briefly, if you can mention the most promising strategies and technologies that the smart cities are currently utilizing to enhance the energy efficiency and actually also reduce the carbon emissions as part of their efforts and this acceleration to the energy transition.
Okay. So just to get back my definition for the energy transition, which is the shift from fossil fuel-based technologies to renewable energy. So behind this definition, there is a simple equation. I want to make renewable energy feasible and applicable to provide the whole energy of my city. So from the supply side, I have renewable energy, and also I have energy transition, energy efficiency applications, which my colleagues also presented the smart facades and other applications from the demand side. And I have also the challenge for electrification. So within the demand side, I have the impact of electrification of mobility, and electrification of F&B, and electrification of the industries. So I'm transforming all the industries and the mobility to being powered through electric energy. This will increase the demand from one side. The other challenge is to adopt energy efficiency application to mitigate this increase in the demand in order to make renewable energy feasible. So it is not logical for us just to invest in building renewable energy power plants, which will take a lot of land area requirement and higher investment than investing in energy efficiency. So smart cities shall, from one side, enable the integration or the electrification of these processes that I have mentioned, electrification of mobility and industries and F&B. And also they shall promote energy efficiency within the infrastructure and shall enable smart operations for renewable energy and the seamless integration of renewable energy resources from different levels. So by applying, let's say, for instance, advanced metering infrastructure, I am enabling the citizens to sell back energy to their grid, so which is distributed energy resource application. And at the same time, I can enable wheeling, so generating electricity from a certain area that can be deducted from a facility. Let's say, for instance, a university has a campus in the city and another campus in the rural areas. In the cities, they cannot install solar energy, but in the rural area, they can install this energy. So they can generate electricity in the rural area, and it can be deducted from their overall bill through wheeling application and net metering application, similar to the integration of storage, etc. So smart cities shall enable the seamless integration of renewable energy, promote energy efficiency, and limit the impact of electrification.
Thank you so much. Mentioning all of these important strategies and technologies, let's say, who would be the main stakeholders as a list? Like, what are also the main steps in developing these solutions to reach the smart cities?
Okay, so the approach to smart cities is a collaborative approach. So there is no one single entity responsible for developing smart cities. Citizens are the center of these smart cities. The smart cities is a citizen-centric approach. So the purpose of smart cities is to promote well-being of citizens. So first, these citizens, they shall be users of smart cities. They are stakeholders in terms of that they will be the main users for the smart cities, and they shall be let's say have some learnings about how to live in smart cities. Other stakeholders are municipalities and government agencies that are responsible of developing strategies and promoting smart cities application to the users. And also we have the engineering, the companies and the consultancies that will provide the smart city systems and solutions and implementations. So three main categories: policymakers, which are the government and the authorities, solution providers and consultants, as well as the user, whom is the main stakeholder in smart cities. And as for your second question, what are the main steps? It all starts with a strategy. that will be developed from the policymakers and from the authorities. So each city shall have its own strategy and transformation towards a smart city that is suitable to its citizens and to its resources and energy and to its problems in the infrastructure, in transportation, in health, in pollution, etc. So first, a clear strategy shall be developed and aligned with the national vision, with clear goals, objectives, as well as technology selection and phasing. So in the first 5 years, let's say, we'll be upgrading the infrastructure. Second 5 years, we'll implement these three technologies. And then we'll activate additional technologies and activities related to trading, fintech, etc. So it all starts with a strategy. And then after having a clear strategy and vision, there will be some implementation procedures that will start with designs, mainly for at the master plan level, at the infrastructure level, and then the integration of the smart systems. Then we'll get the feedback from the citizen, and it will be a loop where the strategy is iterated, changed and updated based on the feedback and that the city got from its citizens, and in order to update the process and to providing a better service.
Thank you so much, Yani. Having mentioning also the solar facades, I'd like to ask, as we received questions for Mr. Colin, about what could be the architectural and engineering challenges associated with integrating solar facades into the European infrastructure.
I think the challenges mainly would be in terms of the regulation, because when we talk about solar facade, not everything can be completely fireproof or fire resistant, because that's really, when it comes to safety, that's a very important aspect, especially in the Middle Eastern region where it's pretty hot, and they need to really take a lot of care on fire safety and regulations. That's the only challenge that comes when you talk about a facade into regulation. But I think bar that, that I don't see any literal problems that can arise because of this. But again, if it is a joint effort by all the, everyone in the Clean Energy Building Council, they all really try to put in a regulation where they can have like a safe and a sustainable facade system on a building, or they can have a regulatory aspect where they can use it have qualified vendors to integrate these material. I think this is pretty much easily integrated into any kind of system. It does not need any special facade system, or it does not have any special fixation or something like that. It like your regular facade systems, this can be directly integrated into any buildings.
Thank you. Also, there was a follow-up question. I think it's answered since we are talking about the regulations, but how can we have the optimum or the best practice of these regulations? What should be done in terms to get the best regulations to have this integration between the smart cities and the facade solution?
Yeah, see, the best integration would be like having, it's like having a, what do you call it? It's the, I think it's the regulatory board that needs to take this up in their hand. So and also it's the clients that needs to really look at how they can look at this as an advantage of integrating a solar facade. It's not just about, of course, one set of people looking at green building options, but it's also the cost factor that needs to be looked into.
Another question is, question is giving another one. Is there any successful case studies of certain smart cities effectively incorporating with solar facades, like in their European landscape, not only to generate renewable energy, but also to enhance the environmental quality of the city, let's say?
Yes, see, there is some buildings that is being integrated in Europe. As of now, the only place that has a couple of facades, because we ourselves have done about 3 or 4 facades in Europe, in the Netherlands, but it has not been predominantly anywhere else in the global index. But countries like Singapore are adapting to this. By adapting, there is a recent study on one of the documents in Singapore that there is a particular area where they have a lot of solar facades, and definitely they have seen significant drop in temperatures in that one particular area. So that those kind of documents needs to be published a little. I mean, it needs to be a bit louder. So I mean, these kinds of things needs to be understood by, I mean, people must get to know these facts.
Totally agree with you. Thank you so much. As the solar facades, it's really important topic. And we need to make you relax after all these questions. I would like to get back to Mr. Frederick. Lois, please. There is another question is being asking is about what advice would you give to individuals and organizations looking to take their first steps toward net zero future?
Thank you for the one who posed these questions. My advice would be this one. I think we need to set up the starting point, meaning that you need to make the kind of assessment of where you stand and where you want to go. There are so many opportunities, so many solutions to be done in the same area. So if you don't know exactly where you're starting and where you want to go, I think unfortunately you will go in too many directions. So my advice would be, as a first step towards a net zero future, you need to really make a very strong assessment of where you stand, what is the pace of your development, especially in the Emirates. The development is amazing. So really, we need to know at what pace we want to go. So the starting point is very important for me. So this would be my advice.
I think also some people ask to share your email. You can share it by chat, or we can share it now, inshallah.
I will now.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Mentioning again the importance of solar facades, like I would like to ask Mr. Osama, are you with us? Okay. Unfortunately, I think he has other commitments, so he left. But you can reach for any other questions. We received many questions. For any unanswered question, you can connect with our speakers. You can get back to the website where you registered, and you can find all the emails and contact info there. Now, moving to our second theme of the day, where we are going, since we mentioned the strategies and smart and advanced applications and employing the modern technologies in the smart cities. Now, going to talk more deeply about the effects, and starting with the second theme of the day, where we are going to talk about the zero carbon cities. Starting with our first presentation, which will be with Mr. Harshit Bandar, where we are going to talk about empowering smart cities and the integration of renewable energy technologies. Mr. Harshit is the Techno-Commercial Manager and Business Development at Oriana Power Limited.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Malak, for the introduction.
You can share your screen.
Greetings of the day. Yeah. Yes. Is it visible?
Yes, it is clear. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. So starting with the topic empowering smart cities and integration of renewable energy technologies. So basically, in this era of rapid urbanization, and there is a critical need for the sustainability of the future energy resources and mitigating the climate changes, everything. Considering that the smart cities are being developed in various parts of the world. So we need to find the ways to empower them using the renewable energy sources, which will help in maintaining a sustainable environment for each and every person in the world. So with the challenges rising in the energy demand, environmental degradation, and imperative to combat climate change, we look forward to guide urban centers towards a more sustainable, efficient, and resilient future. So challenges and opportunities. So there are many ways the cities can be, have issues regarding the availability of the resources, and there might be some infrastructure issues. So we try to cater that using the renewable energy sources. So first of all, there are the challenges with the urban energy. So as we can see in the graph, during the 1800, the power requirement was way less than it is now, and in past 2 decades it has grown more than 10-folds. So this has created various issues for us. So first of all, taking the environmental impacts, so air pollution, like we're using the fossil fuels and everything, it has created, it emit CO2s and SO2s, which is harmful for air and create major issues in breathing and other things. And also it is increasing the global warming, which is a major issue in the world right now. Water pollution, so sulfur dioxide, nitrogen oxide, these are being added to the water through acid rains and other things, which is harmful for not only for the people who are living around the water, the rivers and other things, also it is harmful for the marine life. And there is also habitat destruction, as we all know, to extract the fossil fuels and all, we have to do the mining, we have to set up the oil wells and everything. So it is destructing our habitat and it disrupts the localities, the people which are living there. So it is harmful for that. Greenhouse gases emission, burning of fossil fuel, as I mentioned, primarily it emits CO2, which is a greenhouse gas, and it is impacting the global warming. And it is also increasing the sea levels and disrupting the ecosystems. Then there are some social impact, health issues because of the acid rains, the crops are being destroyed, and they are creating the soil is getting polluted, which is increasing the health issues in the areas. Resource depletion, so mining and everything destroys the habitat, and the resources get depleted as since the population of the world is increasing at a very fast rate. So also we are utilizing the resources much faster than anticipated, and it will cause it is causing the resource depletion. Safety concerns, taking like fossil fuels, we say, or we say like nuclear power plants. So they are like nuclear power plant is a low carbon energy source, but it possesses a significant concern. So accidents like Chernobyl and Fukushima have highlighted the potential for catastrophic events with long-lasting environmental and health consequences. And climate displacement, sea levels are rising at a very fast rate, and most of the cities which are on the shores are being submerged into water because of that. So to mitigate these changes, there is a global, growing global push to transition to cleaner and more sustainable energy sources. So moving on to next one, so benefits of renewable energy. As we all know, renewable energy is a clean resource of energy. Sorry. Sustainability. So we talk about resource availability. So unlike fossil fuels and nuclear, they are somewhat finite sources of energy, and they are also depleting at a faster rate. So if we go towards a renewable energy like sunlight, wind, water, and geothermal heat, these are some of the examples which are not going to run out in over a human time scale. And next is environmental impact. Harnessing harnessing renewable energy has minimal impact on the environment compared to fossil fuels. It reduces the destruction of habitat destruction, pollution of air and water is reduced. So, and there are no chances of having a catastrophic damage due to some accident like that. Reduced emission. So greenhouse gases emission gets reduced because of using the renewable energy sources, which in terms improve the air quality, and it also mitigate the climate change. Since their emission of the greenhouse gases will be on the lower side, then we might be able to, mitigate that global warming, and as outlined in the Paris Agreement, which aims at limiting global warming to well below 2 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels. Economic benefits, job creation is one of the benefits because from the time of manufacturing, installation, and after that maintenance of that particular and renewable energy source creates a job for the localities. And energy costs, since in renewable energies, majorly there are no major operational cost, so it brings the energy cost stability in that. And local economic development, investment in renewable energy projects often benefit local communities through increased tax revenues, lease payment to the landowners, and infrastructure development, continuing to economic growth. In conclusion, renewable energy offers a sustainable, environment-friendly, and economically beneficial alternative to fossil fuel. As we continue to transition to clean energy sources, these advantages become increasingly evident. So there are some of the renewable energy technologies which are available in the world, in the market. As of now, one of the first is the solar energy. We are utilizing the solar energy for generating the electricity or heating waters and everything, which is significantly reducing the power requirement from the fossil fuels. So in talking the terms about the smart cities, so solar energy is one of the best renewable energy source which can be used in the urban scales, like because they are highly suitable for urban areas due to versatility in installations. So they can be placed on rooftops, integrated into building facades, or even incorporated in urban infrastructure like bus stops or street lights, like that. Since solar energy is a decentralized energy source, making it an excellent choice for the smart cities aiming to reduce their carbon footprints. Then we come to wind energy. So wind energy is likely used on the larger scale. So there are like offshore wind farms, onshore wind farms that can be installed over there on the outskirts of the smart cities. Also, nowadays with the technological advancements and all, smaller wind turbine designs are for buildings are available. And careful planning is also essential to mitigate noise and aesthetic concerns. But it can be used on over the high-rise buildings and that, like that, so can be utilized to generate electricity and reduce the consumption from the fossil fuels. Biomass energy is producing gases which can be used for generating electricity or for heating, etc. From the organic waste. So in terms of smart cities, it is obviously not possible to install a biomass energy plant in the smart city, but on the outskirts it can be installed and be connected to the waste management system of that city. So using the anaerobic digestion, which is a new technology to, and biomass to energy plants can be installed, which are connected to the waste management system, allowing city to derive energy from organic waste. Hydroelectric is not used on the small scale, but however, it can be used in urban waterways and canals within the infrastructure to capture energy. The smaller scale of hydroelectricity plants can be installed in that way, which might contribute to a localized power generation and resilience in the smart cities. Next comes the geothermal energy. So geothermal energy utilizes Earth's natural heat and pumps the excess water and steam reserves from the steam reservoirs. So for urban environments and the smart cities, it can be primarily used for heating of the buildings and cooling of the buildings. And ground sources of heat can be heat pumps are practical options. Making use of stable ground temperatures to enhance energy efficiency and reduce greenhouse emission in smart cities. So in context of smart cities, the integration of these renewable energy sources requires careful planning, technology adoption, and a focus on energy efficiency. Smart grids energy storage solution can play a crucial role in, we will be able to utilize the energy when the primary source is not providing the much electricity that is required. Then innovations and emerging trends. Emerging technologies for energy optimization are at forefront of efforts to create a smarter and more sustainable cities. So some of the examples are given here as energy storage systems. Energy storage system can be connected to the wind farms, can be connected to the solar energy or hydroelectric energy, which might provide which will store the surplus energy and provide it during the peak hours when the electricity requirement on the higher side and our renewable energy sources are not producing that much. Blockchain technology can be implemented. It is a decentralized digital ledger that securely records and verifies transaction across network of computers. So in the context of smart cities, blockchain can enable peer-to-peer energy trading among city residents and businesses. So this technology allows transparent and efficient energy transaction, reducing the need for intermediaries and potentially lowering energy costs for consumers. Advanced grid management system. So using the sensors or real-time data analytics and control mechanisms, we can implement this advanced grid management system. So if in the daytime, like the power to the industrial or commercial side is required on the higher side than the residential one. So it can efficiently transfer the energy to the required areas and lower the energy requirement on that side. So in that way, vice versa, in the evening time, since the residential complexes require a higher amount of energy, so it can transfer to that. And it can manage the supply and demand efficiently. Then energy efficient building technologies. So smart HVAC systems, energy efficient lighting, building automation systems, these can play a crucial role in the smart cities in terms of energy savings in the energy consumption. So this can respond to occupancy patterns, environmental condition to optimize energy used within the building. Distributed energy resources. So distributed energy resources encompass a small scale power generation and storage system like rooftop solar power plants, micro wind turbine, residential energy storage system, like that. Then artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence can be utilized in the terms of smart cities to provide understanding the consumption and requirement pattern efficiently and providing electricity as required. So potential impacts of these technologies and emerging trends on the smart city development. So sustainability, these emerging technologies promote the use of renewable energy sources, reducing greenhouse gas emission, and promoting sustainability in smart cities. Resilience, energy storage, and advanced grid management enhance the resilience of smart city energy systems, ensuring a stable power supply during disruptions. Cost saving, improved energy efficiency, reducing waste translate into cost savings for both cities, governments, and residents. Quality of life, since renewable energy sources does not produce any harmful byproducts while generating the electricity, it will eventually improve the quality of the life in terms of health and also on the monetary side. So we have considered one of the case study here where the renewable energy, sorry. Where the renewable energy technologies were implemented in the smart cities. So one of the example is of Copenhagen in Denmark. So it is they have done the successful integration of renewable energy in the smart city in the Copenhagen, and they have made strides in incorporating renewable energy technologies to empower its smart city initiatives. So they have integrated wind power. So Copenhagen is harnessing the wind power from the offshore wind farms, which are generating clean electricity, and they are providing it to them. District heating, Copenhagen has a comprehensive district heating system that utilizes renewable and waste heat resources. It recycles excess heat from power generation and industrial processes, reducing the need for fossil fuel-based heating. Bicycle-friendly infrastructure, promoting renewable transportation. Copenhagen extensive network of cycling lanes and bike sharing programs reduces the carbon footprint associated with commuting. After implementing these renewable energy technologies and other policy-based decisions they have made, so they have really got some measurable outcomes by utilizing that. So in terms of energy saving, they have saved, they are contributing around 4% of the city's electricity demand to renewable energy sources. And they have also reduced their carbon emissions, and they are ambitious. They have set ambitious climate goals, aiming to become carbon neutral by 2025. So becoming carbon neutral by 2025 will eventually be beneficial in terms of health, as it is reducing the emission of the harmful gases and everything. So air quality improvement has been seen in Copenhagen since the emission from the fossil fuel has resulted in improved air quality and public health, enhancing the overall quality of life. So economic growth since as we have seen earlier, the renewable energy sources, energy resources are creating jobs in terms of operation and maintenance and like that. So they are increasing the jobs and demonstrating that sustainability can be economically advantageous. So Copenhagen's success in integrating renewable energy technologies showcases the benefit of smart city initiatives, along with empowering them with the renewable energy sources will have a larger impact. So there are some policies and investments which can be bring into picture when we are discussing about the smart cities. So they can be much more beneficial for the society as a whole. So subsidies and tax initiatives can be offered by the government for the people who are installing the any kind of renewable energy sources, energy source at their own house and become a prosumer. Feed-in tariffs can be in most of the countries and areas. Feed-in tariffs are being provided to the prosumers which are having small energy generation plants in their homes or in their industries anywhere, which will eventually reduce the fossil the energy consumption from the fossil fuels and will increase the quality of life. Renewable portfolio standards, renewable energy targets. Government can set the renewable portfolio standards and targets for industries or residentials to increase the popularity of the renewable sources. And non-compliance of that can be penalized, or something like that can be done to increase the installations of the renewable energy sources. Net metering and grid integration. So net metering policies can be brought into picture where the prosumer can utilize the required amount of energy and rest can be passed on to the grid, which can be utilized by other consumers. public-private partnership, as it was mentioned earlier, government can collaborate with private sector to develop energy parks or solar wind farms and solar parks. In that way, so they can produce electricity and government can give benefit to the other consumers from them. Green bonds, government can issue green bonds to raise funds raise funds specifically for renewable energy sector and like that. Carbon prices, so carbon pricing can be brought into picture in the policies and other things for the amount of electricity that is being transferred to the government or to the DISCOMs in the area. Can give you the carbon credits which can be utilized later, can be monetized form or some other form can be utilized. And I guess so that's all from my side. So thank you.
Thank you so much. We received different questions for your session and preferably to be shared during the Q&A session. Thank you for your informative presentation. Inshallah, looking forward for the Q&A. Now moving to Ms. Huda. أستاذة هدى عبد الغفار راح تنضم لنا تحكي لنا عن ورقة بحثية تتحدث عن البصمة الكربونية ومسؤولية الفرد في الحد من التغير المناخي. أستاذة هدى عبد الغفار هي نائبة رئيس تحرير الهيئة الوطنية للإعلام في مصر ومدير تنفيذي لمنتدى دراية للدراسات، وحاليا هي باحثة ماجستير في كلية الدراسات والبحوث البيئية بجامعة عين شمس. أستاذة هدى بتقدري تشاركي الشاشة؟ أهلا وسهلا.
أيوة، أهلا بحضراتكم جميعا. شير سكرين طيب أستاذن حضرتك هتشيري من عندك البرزنتيشن.
احنا شايفين الشاشة عندك، إذا بتشاركيها معي بشاركها، ما في أي مشكلة، بس احنا حاليا
طيب.
شايفين
أنا كنت بعتها لحضرتك في الإيميل.
يلا ثواني.
طيب ممكن حضرتك تعملي شير سكرين؟
حاضر تمام، ثواني بعد إذنك.
على ما حضرتك تعملي سكرين. أيوة أوكي.
تفضلي قبل ما أطلع.
تمام. طبعا أنا بشكر القائمين على هذا المؤتمر وفريق عمل سولاربك المتميز، وأخص بالشكر الباشمهندسة ملك على طول في تواصل معي. حقيقي المنصة بتسهم بشكل فاعل في التوعية بالموضوعات الخاصة بالطاقة المتجددة والاستدامة، وتعمل على التمكين نحو الانتقال نحو الاقتصاد عديم الكربون في المنطقة العربية. طبعا بتقدم حلول رقمية متقدمة وبتستعين بخبرات ومتخصصين في مجالات الطاقة المتجددة ومجال الاستدامة. طبعا يسعدني أني أتواجد في هذا المؤتمر وسط نخبة من الخبراء والباحثين من جميع أنحاء العالم لتسليط الضوء على موضوع غاية في الأهمية، وهو موضوع البصمة الكربونية للأفراد individual carbon footprint. وطالما نحن نتحدث عن المدن الذكية والمستدامة، فهي تعتبر الحل الأمثل لكل مشاكل التدهور البيئي وتحقيق كفاءة بيئية مستقبلاً. بالطبع هي تستهدف التحقيق الحياد الكربوني وتحقيق الكفاءة البيئية مستقبلاً. وطبعاً بتسعى لتحقيق حياة أفضل لقاطنيها. طالما نحن بصدد هذا المؤتمر فيجب أن نتحدث عن البصمة الكربونية، وذلك للحفاظ على الاستدامة البيئية المنشودة. ولكن لابد أن نعرف بداية أن موجة التحضر في العالم العربي تسير بشكل متسارع. هي عالمياً تتسارع، ولكن في الوطن العربي تسير بشكل أكثر تسارعاً. هقول بعض الأرقام اللي تحطنا في الصورة. حوالي نصف سكان العالم، أي قرابة 3.5 مليار نسمة، يعيشون في المدن، ومن المتوقع أن يزداد هذا العدد بحلول 2030 ليصل إلى 5 مليارات نسمة، أي ما يتجاوز نحو 65% من سكان العالم. طبعا هذا الأمر بالطبع يؤثر سلبا على إمدادات الطاقة والمياه والصرف، فتستهلك المدن من 60% إلى 80% من الطاقة، وتتسبب انبعاثات تصل إلى 75%. وكما قلت فإن العالم العربي مستوى التحضر فيه يسير بشكل متسارع، ولهذا تبرز الحاجة الماسة للتخطيط والإدارة الفاعلة، ومن ثم تتضح أهمية إنشاء مدن ذكية مستدامة قادرة على التصدي والصمود للتحديات البيئية، وكما يقول الخبراء فهي أداة للتصدي للتغير المناخي بشكل كبير، فإنها تستهدف تقليل الآثار السلبية للعامل البشري على النظم البيئية وخفض نسب التلوث. فنجد في مصر العاصمة الإدارية ومدينة العالمين، في الإمارات مدينة مصدر بأبو ظبي، في السعودية مدينة نيوم، في قطر لوسيل. وانطلاقا من استهداف المدن الذكية لتقليل تلك الانبعاثات ووصولا إلى الحياد الكربوني مستقبلا، تبرز أهمية موضوع هذه الجلسة وهي عن البصمة الكربونية كما ذكرت. نستعرض بداية مفهوم البصمة الكربونية للفرد. أستأذن حضرتك أستاذة ملك أتحكم في من البداية. من بداية التعريف بمفهوم البصمة الكربونية. سلايد. أوكي. أنا مش باينة عندي السلايدز أستاذة ملك.
أنا
ممكن enable me إن أنا أقدر أتحكم في السلايدز.
تمام. I think إنه نقدر نعمل هذا الشيء.
طيب أنا محتاجة بس إن أنا أقدر أتحكم في السلايدز. طيب أوكي. هنتناول بداية مفهوم البصمة الكربونية للفرد individual carbon footprint، ولكن في البداية بنعرف البصمة الكربونية بشكل عام. البصمة هي أثر الإنسان اللي بيتركه في البيئة، هي الإجمالي الانبعاثات الكربونية الصادرة ده بشكل عام، ده البصمة الكربونية بشكل عام، وإنما عند الحديث عن البصمة الكربونية للفرد فأنا أتحدث عن إجمالي الانبعاثات الصادرة عن ممارسات هذا الفرد، أسلوب حياته اليومية، ممارساته، إجمالي هذه الانبعاثات، وهي لا تشمل ثاني أكسيد الكربون فقط، وإنما تشمل جميع غازات الدفيئة بما فيها ثاني أكسيد النيتروز، غاز الميثان، وغاز هيدروفلوروكربون، غازات كثيرة قال العلماء أنها قد تصل إلى 40 نوع من غازات التي تسبب الاحتباس الحراري green house gases. أستاذة ملك حضرتك مش عارفة أن أنا يعني أتحكم في السلايدز.
إذا بتحبي أعمل من عندي، أنت كل ما بتحبي نعمل سكرول.
لا أنا محتاجة أنا اللي أتحكم في السلايدز بعد إذن حضرتك.
أنا مشاركة معاكي التحكم، بس ما بعرف ليش مش ضابط.
You control. أوكي، ثانية واحدة. طيب قولي لي يا أستاذة ملك، ممكن يعني طيب حضرتك خلاص واضح إن أنا كان لازم من البداية أعمل الشير سكرين من عندي، بس أنا مش عارفة أتحكم. طيب هستأذن حضرتك تجيبي لي السلايد المحور الأول للموضوع والخاص بالمفهوم. أيوه، السلايد اللي بعده. تمام، أوكي. ده طبعا زي ما أنا قلت إن هي الإجمالي الغازات الدفيئة زي ما أنا ذكرت، وهنا لازم أشير إلى أن مفهوم البصمة الكربونية تم اشتقاقه من مصطلح البصمة البيئية الإيكولوجيكال فوتبرنت. هذا المصطلح ظهر أوائل التسعينيات كأحد نتائج أعمال قمة الأرض التي عقدت في ريو دي جانيرو عام 1992، ولكن مع قدوم الألفية الجديدة ظهر مفهوم البصمة الكربونية للفرد اللي عرفته الأمم المتحدة بأنه كمية انبعاثات غازات الدفيئة المرتبطة بأنشطة الفرد، كما قلت الممارسات الفرد، أنشطته تشمل مشترياته، أسلوب حياته، أكله، سفره، وهذا ما نعرفه لاحقا. باشمهندسة ملك السلايد اللي بعده. طبعا بنقيس البصمة الكربونية بعدد الأطنان من ثاني أكسيد الكربون. طبعا هي يعني ممكن يكاد يعتقد البعض أن البصمة الكربونية مجرد ثاني أكسيد الكربون عشان إحنا بنقول بصمة كربونية. لا، هي تشمل جميع غازات الدفيئة، ولكن سميت البصمة الكربونية لأن غاز ثاني أكسيد الكربون هو مكون يصل إلى ما يتجاوز 70% من حجم الغازات الدفيئة، وأثره يمتد لسنوات كثيرة، وبالتالي فهو أخطر الغازات. وأيضا هنا نشير إلى أن هناك انبعاثات مباشرة وغير مباشرة، فقد نعتقد أن الانبعاث من انبوب عادم السيارة، ولكن هنا أريد أن أشير أن هناك انبعاثات مباشرة وانبعاثات غير مباشرة. فالبصمة الكربونية لقيادة السيارة ليست فقط الانبعاثات التي تصدر من أنبوب العادم، بل جميع الانبعاثات التي تحدث منذ استخراج البترول وتكريره وتحويله إلى وقود ونقله إلى محطات البنزين. ليس هذا فقط، فهذه العربية تم تصنيعها وإنتاجها وصيانتها وإيصالها إلى الأماكن، فبالتالي كل هذه البروسيس بتسهم بشكل كبير في الانبعاثات الكربونية، ومن ثم فهناك انبعاثات مباشرة وانبعاثات غير مباشرة. أوكي. برضو هنا يعني أحب أقول مثال آخر. عندما يقوم الفرد بالسفر، فالبصمة الكربونية من فرد تختلف من فرد لآخر. هل هو سوف يعني هيسافر على درجة رجال أعمال أم درجة سياحية؟ طبعا درجة رجال الأعمال بتكون المساحة المخصصة للفرد أكبر من الدرجة السياحية، فبالتالي تكلفة النقل بتكون أعلى، وهناك عوامل أخرى بتدخل: الارتفاع اللي بتحلق فيه الطائرة، وزن الشحن، أكيد المسافة اللي هتقطعها الطائرة. هناك عوامل كثيرة تحدد البصمة الكربونية. أوكي يا باشمهندسة. هنا البعد الثاني أو المحور الثاني بتكلم عن مسؤولية الفرد في الحفاظ على استدامة البيئة. طيب إحنا لما نعرف إن السلوك الاستهلاكي للأسر في نحو 72 تسبب في نحو 72% من انبعاثات غازات الاحتباس الحراري، معنى كده إن الاستهلاك الفرد يسهم بشكل كبير في مشكلة الاحتباس الحراري. طبعا القرارات الأفراد كمستهلكين في النهاية هي تحرك السلسلة من التعاملات التجارية، تمتد عبر شبكات طبعا توريد. كل هذا يسهم في زيادة البصمة الكربونية. طيب هل يعلم الفرد منا عند إرسال إيميل صغير ممكن يستهلك قد إيه من البصمة الكربونية؟ يعني ممكن تصل البصمة الكربونية إلى 17 جرام من ثاني أكسيد الكربون إذا كان الإيميل بيأخذ وقت 10 دقائق كتابة، 3 دقائق. ممكن كمان يصل إلى 29 جرام لو أنا الإيميل ده أرسلته لنحو 100 فرد. يعني مجرد إرسال الإيميل، ليه إرسال الإيميل من جهاز لجهاز؟ لأن الأجهزة طبعا بتشتغل كهرباء، حتى الشبكات اللي بتنقل البيانات المخزن عليها تستخدم الكهرباء. وبعض الدراسات أثبتت أن البصمة الكربونية للبريد الإلكتروني قد تكون مساوية للبصمة حال قطعنا نحو 80 كيلومتر باستخدام سيارة صغيرة تعمل بالغاز. فلكم أن تتخيلوا مدى إسهام الفرد في مشكلة الاحتباس الحراري، إسهامه في انبعاثات التي تسبب مشكلة الاحتباس الحراري. أيضاً أثبتت دراسات أن عند استخدام الفرد للهاند دراير قد تصل البصمة الكربونية هنا إلى 10 جرام من ثاني أكسيد الكربون، عذراً 22 جرام. وإذا قارناها بتجفيف اليد عن طريق استخدام الورق تصل 10 جرام مقارنة ب 22 جرام عند استخدام الهاند دراير. اوكي، فبالتالي الهاند دراير بمجفف الهواء بيستهلك كهرباء، فالبصمه الكربونيه هتكون اعلى. تمام. طيب البصمه الكربونيه للاكل، انا كفرد باكل تفاحه، التفاحه دي قد تصل البصمه الكربونيه للفرد 32 جرام. تمام. لماذا؟ وقد تصل ل 110 جرام، قد تصل ل 230 جرام. هذا يعتمد على المسافة التي يتم نقل الفاكهة أو أي نوع، سواء فاكهة أو خضروات، حسب المسافة التي يتم نقلها. فكما ذكرت هناك عدة عوامل تسهم في تحديد البصمة الكربونية، ولاحقا سوف أوضح كيفية قياسها. أوكي. السلايد اللي بعده. تمام. طبعا من الأرقام اللي ذكرتها أكيد هيتضح إن قرار الفرد اللي بيتخذه طبعا بيؤثر على البيئة بشكل كبير. طيب هنا بعض الأرقام الهامة اللي توصل إليها فريق بحثي بجامعة ليدز البريطانية. الفريق توصل إن لو الفرد استغنى عن التنقل بسيارة سيوفر بصمة كربونية بمعدل 2 طن سنويا. أيضا عندما يستخدم مصادر طاقة متجددة سيوفر 1.6 طن. عندما يلجأ إلى النقل العام سيوفر 0.9 طن، وهكذا سوف يتضح من الرسم التالي. يعني هنا الرسم ده يوضح متوسط تخفيض الفرد انبعاثات الكربون وفقا للخيارات المطروحة. يعني هنلاقي لو تم الاستغناء عن السيارة سوف يوفر الفرد قرابة 2 طن من ثاني أكسيد الكربون. أيضا عندما يتم الاستغناء عن رحلة واحدة، رحلة بالطائرة واحدة، رحلة طويلة، هنجد أنه سوف يوفر 1.6 طن من انبعاثات ثاني أكسيد الكربون. عندما يتبع نظام غذائي نباتي نجد أنه سوف يوفر 0.8 من الانبعاثات، وهكذا. فكل هذه الخيارات المطروحة والقرارات التي يجب أن يتخذها الفرد تسهم بشكل كبير في كمية الانبعاثات. طبعا الأرقام والبيانات دي بيتضح أن لكل فرد بصمة قد تختلف وقد تتفق. طبعا ده بيعتمد على أسلوب حياة، كمية استهلاك الطاقة، الطعام، نوعيته، الأنشطة اليومية، لأن في أسلوب حياة في luxurious، يعني يستخدموا على طول السيارة، كذا سيارة، سفر بشكل دائم، ممكن يبقى فيه هدر للطعام بشكل كبير. يعني luxurious life بنلاقي إن البصمة الكربونية بتاع أسلوب الحياة ده بيكون كبير. أوكي. هنا المحور ده بنوضح فيه كيفية قياس الفرد للبصمة الكربونية. طبعا أحب أشير إلى أن الوصول إلى يعني حساب دقيق للبصمة الكربونية أمر بالغ الصعوبة، ولكن هناك بعض الحاسبات البصمة اللي هي كربون فوتبرنت كالكوليتر. هذه الحاسبات تطيحها بعض المنظمات والهيئات الدولية زي الأمم المتحدة و US Environmental Protection Agency Nature Conservancy وجلوبال فوتبرنت نتورك، شبكة البصمة العالمية. بيتم توفير هذه الكالكوليترز، بيتم طرح بعض الأسئلة على المستخدم ويتم الإجابة عليها، وفي النهاية يصل إلى معدل البصمة الكربونية التي يسهم بها. طيب السلايدز go on. يعني نجد في هذا الموقع nature.com حاسبة لقياس البصمة، فنجد أن هناك معلومات يدخلها الفرد عن السفر، ويعني هل يستخدم الطائرة أم السيارة أم السفينة وما إلى ذلك. المنزل، نوع المنزل، مساحته، عدد الأفراد القاطنة في المواد المستخدمة في البناء، أيضا معلومات عن الطعام، يعني معلومات عن الشراء. كل هذه المعلومات عند الإدخال سوف تعطي مؤشر، ومؤشر بشكل كبير يعكس هذا المعدل، ولكن لا يكون بشكل دقيق، لأن هذا الأمر صعب للغاية. يعني هنا برضو هذا الشكل عند استخدام الفرد للنقل العام. أيضا هذه صورة توضح، أنا يعني عايزة أحطكم في الصورة إن إزاي تقدروا إن أنتوا تدخلوا على هذه الكالكوليترز وتحسبوا الكربون فوت برينت بمنتهى السهولة. هنا أيضا اختيارات الفرد لنوعية الطعام بتثبت سواء كان يعني نوعية الطعام. طبعا اللحوم هي أكثر نوعيات الطعام إسهاما في الانبعاثات، منتجات الألبان، وهكذا يتم إدخال معلومات وبناء عليه بتطلع النسبة. الصورة دي بتوضح إن الفرد إذا لجأ إلى يعني تغيير أسلوب حياة، نجد أن البصمة الكربونية بتقل إذا اتبع أسلوب حياة صديق للبيئة. لو قلل بس أكل اللحوم مرة واحدة في الأسبوع، طبعا هتقل البصمة الكربونية. إذا استخدم المواصلات، النقل العام، هتقل بصمته الكربونية. هتلاقي هنا الأثر بان في الريزلت النهائي لإجمالي الانبعاثات. أيضا في مؤخرا تم إطلاق عدة تطبيقات إلكترونية أبس لمستخدمي سواء أندرويد أو iOS لقياس البصمة الكربونية. هنلاقي زي في كاربون فوت برينت اند CO2 تراكر، كاربون فوت برينت كالكوليتر. هذه أسماء تستطيعون أن تدخلون على الأب ستور وإنزال هذه التطبيقات. يعني زي كاربون كالكوليتر، حضرتك الصورة اللي بعد كده برضو أسئلة بتتاح ويتم الإجابة عليها. نفس القصة بس هنا أبس، ولكن الأبس تتميز بأنها يعني تحفز الأفراد على الإجراء التغيير في نمط الحياة عن طريق تقديم بعض النصائح يعني التي يجب أن يتبعها لتقليل هذه البصمة. نأتي للمحور التالي. هذا المحور هام جدا ويوضح تباين معدل البصمة للفرد بين الدول. هنلاقي أن المعدل العالمي للبصمة الكربونية للفرد يصل ل 6.3 طن سنويا من ثاني أكسيد الكربون. طبعا ده وفقا لتقرير فجوة الانبعاثات 2022 الصادر عن برنامج الأمم المتحدة للبيئة. هنجد أن البصمة الكربونية للفرد في روسيا يبلغ نحو 13 طنا، والصين 9.7، وهكذا. والاتحاد الأوروبي، الفرد في الاتحاد الأوروبي يصل بصمته نحو 7.2 طن سنويا من ثاني أكسيد الكربون. طبعا الهند كدولة نامية تكون أقل، تصل إلى 2.4. هيوضح الشكل التالي هذه النسب. هذا الشكل يوضح المعدل العالمي ونسب معدل البصمة للفرد سنويا على مستوى هذه الدول. تمام. في تقرير أيضا نشر على موقع Our World in Data. التقرير ده رصد مساهمة انبعاثات ثاني أكسيد الكربون في كل دولة من خلال قسمة إجمالي انبعاثات الدولة على عدد السكان. سجلت طبعا قطر أعلى انبعاثات، بلغت 35 طن لثاني أكسيد الكربون للفرد، تليها الكويت، ثم الإمارات، ثم السعودية وكندا، الاتحاد الأوروبي، وهكذا. متوسط نصيب الفرد في مصر من الانبعاثات طبعا أقل من المعدل العالمي، حيث أن نصيب الفرد في مصر يبلغ 2.2 طن سنويا. الشكل التالي يوضح. تمام. طبعا هذا الشكل يوضح اختلاف البصمة الكربونية للفرد من دولة إلى أخرى. ننتقل إلى المحور التالي. وقبل الانتقال لي برضو لابد أن أشير إلى دراسة قام بها باحثو منظمة أكسفام البريطانية. الباحثين قاموا برصد انبعاثات تراكمية لغازات الاحتباس الحراري من عام 1990 لعام 2015 وتوصلوا إلى نتائج غاية في الأهمية. توصلوا إلى أن أغنى 10% في العالم تسببوا في نحو 52% من الانبعاثات الكربونية التراكمية، في حين كان 50% من الأكثر فقراً مسؤولين عن 7% فقط من الانبعاثات. أيضاً الدراسة أشارت إلى أن 1% من أغنى البشر أي 63 مليون نسمة مسؤولون عن 15% من البصمة الكربونية، علماً بأن 37% منهم من قاطني أمريكا. تمام؟ okay. يعني ممكن السلايد اللي بعده. طبعا هنا في نقطة مهمة جدا. كلما زاد دخل الأسرة كلما زاد متوسط الأطنان اللي بتطلقها من ثاني أكسيد الكربون، وهذه دراسة توصل بها فريق بحثي بجامعة ميشيغان الأمريكية. طبعا ده بتسلط الضوء على كيفية إسهام الأفراد في البصمة الكربونية، فكلما زاد الدخل كلما زاد الإنفاق على الطعام، على الهاوسينج، على الكلودينج، على الترانسبورت، على السيرفيسز بشكل عام. هل الوقت خلص؟ يعني خلاص آخر محور اللي هي مقترحات. طبعا من أجل تخفيض معدل الفرد من البصمة الكربونية من 6.3 طن حتى نصل إلى يعني ما يناهز 2 طن أو 2.1 عام 2030، وهذا ما يوصي به الخبراء. طبعا هذا يمثل تحديا كبيرا. وعندما نعلم أن الأفراد يستطيعون توفير الكثير من كميات انبعاثات الكربون تصل إلى 15 مليار بحلول عام 2030. طبعا ده أكده فيليب كافارو أكد أن هنا دور الفرد في الوصول إلى ليه دور كبير حتى نصل إلى هدف أو عتبة 1.5 درجة مئوية بموجب اتفاقية المناخ. آخر سلايد. بعض السبل لخفض الفرد لبصمته. آخر سلايد. طبعا إحنا لازم كأفراد نعتبر أنفسنا جزء من المشكلة أو الحل، وليست الحكومات والدول وحدها. فالفرد يمكن أن يسهم بشكل كبير كما عكست الأرقام هذه الحقيقة. وهذه 10 نصائح أو سبل يستطيع الفرد أن يطبقها حتى يسهم في استدامة بيئته. أكيد استخدام وسائل النقل العام، سيارات كهربائية، توفير طاقة في منازل، تقليل استهلاك اللحوم، تقليل الرحلات الجوية، لا سيما أن وقود الطائرات يعتبر من أبرز مصادر الانبعاثات الكربونية، يسهم بمقدار 2.5 من إجمالي الانبعاثات السنوية، وطبعا ده طبقا للمجلس الدولي للنقل النظيف. أكيد طبعا تقليل الهدر من الطعام، تقليل المشتريات، استخدام مصادر متجددة، اختيار منتجات صديقة للبيئة لا تسبب مشاكل بيئية، طبعا توعية وتشجيع الآخرين. أكيد دور الإعلام هنا يلعب دورا هاما، ودعم أيضا متخذ القرار. بشكر حضراتكم جدا على انضمامي للمؤتمر ومشاركتي فيه، وآمل إن شاء الله المشاركة مستقبلا في فعاليات أخرى. شكرا باشمهندسة ملك.
شكرا لك. شكرا. بس خلينا ضلي معنا مهندسة أستاذة بعد إذنك على ما نبدأ في جلسة Q&A. I'd like to thank you so much for your really super informative presentation and for the easy
شكرا لحضراتكم جميعا.
Okay, so Mr. Harshit is with us, so we will start the Q&A session in a moment. We received different questions about your presentation, about the empowering the smart cities. So our first question was for you, Mr. Harshit, is 1 second, just okay. How can the advancements in the building envelope technologies and design contribute to significant improvements in the energy efficiency?
هذا السؤال موجه إلي؟
لا أستاذ هاشم.
Okay.
I'll come to you بعد.
Okay.
Can you repeat the question?
Okay. We received a question about how can the advancements in the building envelopes technology and design contribute to the significant improvement in the energy efficiency. For example, what are the practical examples that these innovations being implemented in the large scale construction projects?
Regarding construction projects.
We can't hear you. You can come close.
Yeah. Okay, sorry. In building technology, so basically we can utilize the natural light much to utilization depending on light from energy system.
We can't hear you. I think the voice is a little bit far. If you can just, you're now muted. Okay.
Yeah. Is it audible?
Still, if you can, like, a little bit, yeah.
Just give me 2.
Okay, this is better now.
Yeah. Is it better?
Yes, better now.
Yeah, so we can utilize the natural lights to our best use in the buildings in the large buildings which require a large amount of electricity power. And other than that, we can utilize the smart HVAC systems which are required for heating or cooling of the building, so that which can collect the data from the building, like where the number of people are higher, there we might need more cooling and other things like that. So in that way, I guess we can utilize the new technologies in the buildings.
Thank you. Followed by other question is, what role does the policy or policies and regulations play in the incentivizing the adoption of energy efficient building envelopes? What could be the potential economic and environmental benefits of upscaling the energy efficiency?
So in in the buildings, like in the office areas or the small office parks which are being developed, the office hubs which are being developed in the cities nowadays. So there, the incentives can be provided for utilizing as it is going on in India. So we can have offshore solar plants or wind farms to deliver the energy requirement of that particular area, and it can be installed anywhere within the state or within the country. And through the government policies, the energy which is being generated from that particular renewable energy source, it could be the wind farm, it could be a solar farm, it could be a hydroelectric power plant, like that. And that energy can be used by that building with the help of government policies and government infrastructures which are being developed nowadays. And along with that, since also when we utilize that kind of energy, as they're having a power requirement of, let's say, 100 megawatt or 110 megawatt. So for utilizing that much amount of power on daily basis, government is providing carbon credits, which can later be monetized or can be used for getting the energy certificates and all. So like that, government policies are helping in terms of incentives for the consumers.
Thank you. If you can please also kindly to share your email, because people are asking for certain questions. I think it would be better to be answered there and during the email. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Now moving and getting back to Ms. Huda. أستاذة هدى، وردتنا عدة أسئلة للبرزنتيشن تبعتك. بشكل سريع ممكن إنه نسأل عن سؤال في سياق مكافحة التغير المناخ اللي قاعد بيصير. شو هي الاستراتيجيات والمبادرات التعليمية اللي حالياً بيتم استخدامها لزيادة الوعي وتحفيز الأفراد عشان يتحملوا مسؤولية أكبر تجاه الكربون فوت برنت؟ كيف ممكن تكون الجهود الجماعية نقدر نحكي إلها أثر أكبر على انبعاثات الكربون العالمية؟
تمام، طبعا في جهود كبيرة يمكن بذلها للتصدي طبعا لمشكلة التغير المناخي اللي أصبحت واقع ملموس نعيشه جميعا ونشهد آثاره يوما تلو الآخر. طبعا يعني هناك مسؤولية تقع على عاتق الدول واتخاذ وتبنيها لسياسات فاعلة تدعم وتعزز مسؤولية الفرد لخفض البصمة. يمكن لمتخذ القرار يعني اتخاذ بعض السياسات المحفزة، على سبيل المثال فرض ضرائب يعني بشكل أكبر على السيارات مثل السيارات اللي هي النقل الرباعي التي تستهلك كمية وقود أو بشكل أكبر تسهم مثلا ببصمة كربونية أكبر. يمكن أن توفر مصادر طاقة متجددة أو تدعم الأفراد في ذلك. ممكن نخفض أسعار شراء الألواح الطاقة الشمسية. ممكن تقديم طرق كثيرة لدعم الأفراد في هذا الاتجاه. يمكن أيضا مثلا لقطاع الإعلام أن يقوم بدوره التوعوي الهام، توعية الأفراد، لأن أعتقد أن هناك يعني قصور في ذلك خاصة فيما يتعلق بالمشكلات البيئية. فهناك قصور في التغطية بشكل عام للمشكلات البيئية. وعند الحديث عن البصمة الكربونية وكيف يسهم الفرد في الانبعاثات ممارسات، أعتقد أن كثير منا لا يعرف أن ممارساته اليومية تسهم بهذا الشكل. فيعني أعتقد أن قطاع الإعلام دور هام وبارز في التوعية. أيضا حضرتك في البداية تحدثتي عن المبادرات. طبعا إحنا في مصر مبادرات كثيرة يعني تدعم هذا التوجه، والدولة المصرية تهتم بشكل كبير بالمشروعات الخضراء، ويعني خطوات بصراحة في مجال الطاقة المتجددة، خطوات ملموسة، ومشروعات الهيدروجين الأخضر، مشروعات كثيرة سوف تسهم بشكل كبير في الحد من الانبعاثات. وهذا على الرغم أن يعني مصر لا تسهم يعني بشكل كبير في الانبعاثات، فهي لا تتجاوز 0.6%، يعني 6/10% من إجمالي الانبعاثات العالمية. فبالتالي يعني الدولة المصرية، وأعتقد دول كثيرة الإمارات و يعني تتخذ يعني توجه لخفض الانبعاثات. حضرتك اتكلمتي عن الدور تقريبا المؤسسات التعليمية، صح كده؟ طبعا ده بيتضح في يعني من خلال المناهج والمقررات التي يدرسها الطلاب في سواء في المدارس أو الجامعات التوعية. وأعتقد هذا بالفعل تم يعني وضعه في الاعتبار بشكل كبير. نجد أن هناك الأطفال يعرفون الآن مشكلة التغير المناخي، تداعياتها، أثرها السلبية، وأن المشكلة هي نابعة من بشكل كبير بسبب أنشطة البشر، وبسبب يعني الطموح الجارف للإنسان لتحقيق تنمية، ولكن تنمية غير مستدامة. فأعتقد أن في المؤسسات التعليمية تم وضع هذا في الاعتبار، وتم التعامل مع هذه المشكلة بشكل كبير، ولكن ينقصنا التركيز بشكل أكبر على دور الفرد، لأن الدول وحدها لن تستطيع والحكومات لن تستطيع وحدها أن تحقق يعني انخفاض يصل، يعني المفروض احنا يعني نتوجه نحو حياد كربوني. فالدولة لوحدها والمؤسسات إذا لم يشارك الأفراد لن يتأتى لنا الوصول إلى المستهدف، سواء بحلول 2030 أو 2050 للحياد الكربوني.
في أسئلة يعني متبوعة صراحة بهذا السؤال، شكرا لك. يعني أول إشي وصلنا أسئلة عن إنه كيف نوصل للورقة البحثية، فإحنا راح نرفع البرزنتيشن بعد إنك على الويب سايت تبعنا وبتقدروا توصلوا.
تمام، أنا كمان هبعت لحضرتك الورقة كاملة على الإيميل، حضرتك تقدري تعمليها فورورد لأي باحث مهتم. تمام يا فندم، اتفضلي.
شكرا جزيلا. إجانا سؤال ثاني يسألوا عن ليش ما تم أخذ عدد السكان في عين الاعتبار خلال عملية قياس معدل البصمة.
تمام، طيب يعني هتلاقي حضرتك أنا ذكرت في البرزنتيشن، ذكرت إن في تقرير نشر على موقع Our World in Data. التقرير ده كشف إن الدول مثلا النفطية منتجة للنفط سجلت أعلى نسبة انبعاثات للفرد في العالم. قلت يعني وقتها إن التقرير رصد مساهمة الفرد في انبعاثات ثاني أكسيد الكربون في كل دولة من خلال قسمة إجمالي الانبعاثات على عدد السكان. يعني بالفعل في بعض يعني الطرق الحساب بيتم أخذ هذا في الاعتبار، بيتم قسمة إجمالي الانبعاثات الدولة على عدد السكان، ومن ثم يتم يعني معرفة نصيب الفرد في حجم تلك الانبعاثات قد إيه، يعني بشكل كبير.
شكرا. يعني متبوع بالسؤال آخر إنه هل تم يعني شوي تكنيكال أكثر، إنه تم قياس البصمة الكربونية لإنتاج البطاريات اللي بيتم استخدامها في سيارات الكهرباء، كونه سيارات الكهرباء يعني يروج إنها أحد الحلول لتخفيض الانبعاثات حاليا.
تمام، هي طبعا أكيد من الحلول الفاعلة في خفض الانبعاثات. يعني هقول لحضرتك إن عموما ما في، يعني أعتقد من الصعب الوصول صفر كربون. تمام، إحنا دلوقتي بصدد حلول أقل، يعني تسهم في نسبة تحقيق نسبة أقل من الكربون. يعني حتى لو كانت السيارة الكهربائية البطارية، هذه البطارية إنتاج ونقل، يعني في بروسيس كاملة يعني حتى يتم وضع هذه البطارية في السيارة الكهربائية. هذه العملية يعني زي ما أنا وضحت إن البصمة الكربونية تشمل انبعاثات مباشرة وغير مباشرة. غير مباشرة اللي هي عملية التصنيع والإنتاج والنقل، فبالتالي أكيد ليها بصمة كربونية أكيد، بس يعني والأكيد أيضا إن استخدامها في السيارات الكهربائية هيكون أقل من استخدام السيارات العادية، لأن الأزمة الكبيرة وزي ما الأرقام في البرزنتيشن وضحت إن قطاع النقل عموما والمواصلات والاستخدام السيارات يعني أكبر قطاع يسهم في الانبعاثات، يعني بنسبة كبيرة جدا، يعني تتجاوز 50%.
نختم بآخر سؤال، إنه كان السؤال بيحكي هل يعني بيسأل شوي عن الريجوليشنز أو عن نقدر نحكي عن مساهمة الجهات الحكومية، بس بداية إنه هل أول إشي كان الاستهلاك بيرتبط بالإنتاج أو ما بيرتبط بالإنتاج، وهل هناك استراتيجيات تعتبر جيدة حتى الآن إنه تحث الناس على الاستهلاك أو تخفيض استهلاكها من ناحية القطاع الحكومي والخاص؟
أكيد طبعا في استراتيجيات تم وضعها، والدول دلوقتي أدركت إن هي بمفردها لن تستطيع أن تواجه مشكلة التغير المناخي. بدأ يكون في شراكة بين كمان مؤسسات المجتمع المدني والمنظمات غير الحكومية والدول، وهناك زي ما أنا وضحت توجه توجه نحو الاقتصاد الأخضر بشكل عام، واستخدام تقنيات حديثة للحد من الانبعاثات. طيب سؤال حضرتك، يعني هل تريدين أن أسلط الضوء على نقطة معينة، أو يعني بشكل أكثر تحديداً؟
هو بس كان بشكل عام عن السياسات والاستراتيجيات اللي حالياً قاعدة بتنحط. هل هناك استراتيجيات من الأساس هل تعتبر جيدة، أو يعني في مجال لأنها تتطور حتى؟
أكيد طبعا. يعني يعني هقول لحضرتك، عندما اعتمدت الدول الأعضاء في الأمم المتحدة عام اعتمدت خطة التنمية المستدامة لعام 2030، كان الهدف ال 17 يعني يتعلق أهدافها ال 17 كان الهدف رقم 11 كان يتعلق بجعل المدن والمستوطنات البشرية شاملة للجميع وآمنة وقادرة على الصمود والاستدامة، وكان الهدف ال 13 يتعلق باتخاذ إجراءات عاجلة للتصدي لتغير المناخ. طبعا كما نعلم أن أهداف أو خطة التنمية المستدامة وأهدافها ال 17 تشكل إطاراً عاماً يوجه العمل النمائي العالمي والوطني ويوجه السياسات، وبالفعل بدأت الدول في تبني سياسات من خلالها تستطيع أن تصل وتحقق هذه الأهداف.
شكرا جزيلا، يعني جواب كافي ووافي. نشكرك على حضورك اليوم and thank you Harshit and all our speakers.
شكرا لحضرتك.
بنختم اليوم الأول من مؤتمرنا حول التقنيات المتقدمة لإدارة المدن الذكية والمستدامة. كان يوم الحمد لله مليء بالمعرفة والتبادل البناء لأفكار راح تساهم في بناء مستقبل مبتكر أكثر ومستدام أكثر. بحب أشكر جميع المتحدثين والحضور على مشاركتهم وحضورهم وعلى الأسئلة اللي كانت ممتازة ومفيدة جدا. نأمل أنه إن شاء الله تكونوا استفدتوا من هذا اليوم ووصلكم فهم أكثر للتحديات والفرص اللي بتقدمها التقنيات المتقدمة في إدارة المدن. إن شاء الله نلقاكم غدا في اليوم الثاني في نفس الوقت عشان نواصل استكشاف مواضيع مهمة لها related أكثر لمستقبل المدن الذكية والمستدامة. Switching to English, thus I would like to, we are now concluding the first day of our conference on the advanced technologies for the smart cities. It has been a day filled with knowledge and structured exchange of the future-oriented and innovative idea. I'd like to extend our gratitude to all our speakers presented by the advanced technologies in cities management. Looking forward to see you tomorrow on the second day of the conference, which will be at the same time, 11 at Dubai time and 10 by Mecca time. Have a nice day, everyone. Thank you so much. مع السلامة جميعاً.